A night in with MauLer and the drinker, getting trashed with the web screen thinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop off the cork, have a glass of wine, that's they'll say I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, MauLer and the critical drinker.
Right, I'm not even messing around now. I'm starting it before the intro's even fully.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, everyone, that we're so late tonight. I was listening to Gary and Jeremy and Platoon, and I'm sick of listening to their disgusting babble. They just would not stop, and we couldn't get started.
You know, if you're sick of their babble, I don't want to let you know who the guests are tonight. Jeez,
that is
an
true.
awkward
Yeah,
situation.
that's true. We made the mistake of inviting them in before we went live, and so we just started talking, and they wouldn't stop, and that was it. Like, it's just been going on from there, and that's what we've been stuck with. But hey, we are here now. I just I cut them all off and then hit go live, so we made it. Welcome everyone to Open Bar 100 number. Well, sorry, Open Bar number 127. It's great to have you all here. How is it going?
100 number.
Yeah, 100 number and 27. Yeah. MauLer, how are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
Everything's fine. Just working these days.
Are you
Ready to hang
blown
out with
away
some
by how
buddies.
exciting and eventful January has been in the world of entertainment? Man, I just can't keep up I can't keep up with the things that are not happening right now.
It's actually been a little nice in a way, because any time where it's not desperate to cover everything is time I can spend catching up on everything.
That is true. Yeah, I got to finally catch up on Mufasa, which I totally missed back in December. And yeah,
what a great thing to spend your time on.
Yeah, I bitterly regret it now, unfortunately, but it's the thing that I did, so there you go. Anyway, before we bring everyone in, should we catch up on the events that were happening in 1927, since it's Open Bar 127?
Sure.
This is what I like, right? Because this was a period in human history when stuff was actually happening, like where great advancements were being made, where things were being invented, where people were exploring the reaches of the planet and actually like doing interesting things. For example, Charles Lindbergh's first transatlantic flight. On May 20th, he flew solo from New York to Paris for the first time ever in his plane, the Spirit of St. Louis, which is pretty damn cool. That's the first time that was ever done. Also, the first transatlantic telephone call was made from New York to London. I don't know what they said.
Calls back then? Wow.
They did, yeah. Can you believe
crazy,
it? Dude. Yeah. But it was literally just a cable that they had to lay across the entire Atlantic. But pretty impressive that it was done. That was almost 100 years ago today.
Wow.
We talked about movies, obviously, and how it was the silent era was just coming to an end by the sort of mid 1920s, and this was the start of the talkies. The Jazz Singer premiered at Warner Theatre in New York City. It wasn't the very first talkie, but it was the first one that achieved mainstream popularity, and it popularized. Sorry.
It's like a no-brainer, right? The people talking, just in general, is an invention. Because I guess chat didn't know, but talking was invented in around the 20s. Before then, nobody talked.
Yeah, people just had to communicate with body language and just gestures and stuff. And then every so often a piece of text would just appear in front of you, like describing your emotions.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a room full of people, and one guy just said, "You all right?" And everyone went, "What the fuck?" Like, and they all turned and they were like, "Holy shit, what was that?"
He made words come out of his mouth. How does this happen?
Usually they just didn't like it, but at that point it caught on. It was a trend, and here we are.
Yeah. Also in May of that year, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which is such a fancy name, science. Really? Anyway, it was founded in Los Angeles by Douglas Fairbanks. The first ever Oscars were hosted.
Well, thanks, Doug.
Yeah, nice one, Doug. Largely irrelevant performative bullshit in today's world, but back in the day, it was kind of a big deal. Like the movie industry actually recognizing excellence within its own boundaries. So there you go. It was founded back in 1927. And just in case you were curious, the biggest movie of the year was The King of Kings, which made a mighty $2.6 million.
beautiful.
Yeah. It was also the year that gave us Fritz Lang's sci-fi masterpiece, Metropolis. So it premiered first in Germany, obviously, and then got its premiere in New York City in March. So there you go. Pretty cool.
Oh, wow. A little bit of history for you.
Yeah. Anyway, I've educated you people enough, and that's boring. So let's talk about stuff that's happening now, because, it's super exciting in January right now. Anyway, welcome our panel of esteemed guests. We have Gary, Jeremy, and Platoon. Welcome, you fine gentlemen.
Can we talk now?
No.
I don't know. Once we open those floodgates, they're not going to stop.
They haven't invented talking for homosexual men yet.
Yes, exactly. Happy to be back. I thought I was here. The only reason I'm here is so MauLer can destroy my love for Interstellar. That's what I've been told by the internet. So
I have also
will.
been
yeah. So MauLer has to destroy my love for that movie.
That film's getting its resurgence. Everyone loves it.
It's fucking great. Oh, time is being so kind to my favorite movie of all time. I love it. So
I mean, visually it looks great. So if you want to go see it in IMAX, it's quite the treat. But just don't pay attention to any of the words that are being said, particularly towards the end.
Nah,
what a pretty looking and pretty sounding piece of shit.
I did go see it in 70mm IMAX for the first time ever in Miami recently for the re-release. Insane. And it was completely sold out. There was lines around the building. I was not expecting that. So yeah, I love that movie though. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Aw,
really?
Oh yeah, has been since I saw it. First time I saw it.
You know what? It's fine. We're all entitled to be a little bit retarded sometimes.
I mean, I could pull a Zack Snyder fan. You just don't understand the greatness of my movie. Because that's what Snyder fans always pull when you tell them that their movies, they're dog shit.
Takes a decade or two as long as you promise to watch my 10-hour video on it one day.
One day I will. What you can tell me how bad you can tell me how bad Tenet is, and then I'll just say I don't know if you're right or wrong because I don't know what that fucking movie's about. I have no idea what that movie's about.
No one does.
I understand a word that was said in the movie.
I hadn't seen it, but once I saw, I'm pretty sure Nolan say it's not supposed to make sense. I was like, yeah, I'm never watching that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Nolan fans be like, Jeremy, if you just watch it like 8 times, you're going to start to understand it. I'm like, I'm out after 2. I don't understand Tenet. I can't understand what the words are. The dialogue is so horrible in terms of just like, you can't even hear it. The sound mixing is terrible in that movie.
I think that's
got a problem with sound in all of his movies.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not just a Christopher Nolan thing. I feel like a lot of modern films and TV shows have this problem with sound balance where like the soundtrack overwhelms the dialogue. And yeah, it really came to prominence because of Tenet, because it was so obvious in that one, but it's a problem that's been there for a while. And I don't know why it happens. I don't know why we suddenly lost our ability to balance soundtrack with dialogue. Weird.
I think it is. I do think it's a bigger Nolan problem than just general. I'm not saying it's not a problem in general, but Nolan seems to take it to the next level and beyond, especially in Tenet. You literally I've seen it in IMAX the first time, and then I saw it at home. And without subtitles, you can't hear anything in that movie.
I agree with Chat. I think it's a bigger problem. Somebody brought up Dune 2. I was having that problem in Dune 2, and I saw it in real IMAX. It's a mixing problem. I don't know if it's a talent mixing problem. And then when it gets digitized, that would be I guess a question for RMB.
Yeah,
there's definitely some bad sound mixing going on. It's particularly bad in 4K.
Dark Knight Rises, didn't they have like severe problems with Bane's voice because it wasn't
there? Yeah.
mixed?
There was some, but I still I can make out most of what Bane says in that movie. I can't hear anything in Tenet.
Oh, no, sorry. What I'm saying is with what you heard, that was the corrected version, like the original.
Oh, yeah.
Like it had major problems, I think. Yeah, and they had to redo it.
It's not so much of a problem with like Dune 2 because then he doesn't like dialogue anyway, so there's not a huge amount that you're missing if you can't hear it. But in a Nolan movie, like when he comes around finally to doing the Odyssey, and I'm just looking forward to the really epic lines that come out of the Odyssey, but they'll all just be passed as.
I can't wait to see Zendaya frowning unhappily at the camera. It's just going to be like fucking epic, man.
Hey, John Bernthal was just cast in that movie too, by the way.
Was.
So, yeah, somebody tweeted and they said this is going to be the greatest 7 minutes of his career. So that's pretty much all he'll be in it, probably.
Yeah, I love Bernthal.
I love Bernthal, dude.
I mean, he's coming back for Daredevil Born Again. So
Zendaya is playing Penelope,
Is that
And-
confirmed?
And Tom Holland is Odysseus.
I don't think any of that's confirmed.
What?
They said he's the star. That came out. Like
that doesn't mean he's Odysseus though.
dude.
He could be the son and still play.
Yeah.
They said he's a lead. They didn't say he's the main, but they
okay.
said he's a lead.
Because he ain't jacked enough, man. He's what you know.
Our
Tom
Rob
Holland's gonna be a-
knows
Tom
what's
Holland's
up.
going to be a child his whole life.
Yeah.
This is a smart man right here that you highlighted. It's a very, very intelligent man. I respect your opinions on everything in life.
Well, he's been a channel member for a long time, so he knows his stuff.
Yeah, if Tom Holland is the lead, if he plays Odysseus, that's gonna be a fucking problem.
That's gonna be a
A
problem.
real curveball. That Zendaya could be Odysseus, and then
You know what?
Yeah.
everything's
Then
fucked.
that makes everything okay. Can't wait to see her
I
in a
wonder
beard.
when the bubble's going to burst on Zendaya. Like, there will come a point when everyone realizes like she's not a draw. She doesn't sell tickets, and she can't really act that well.
I
She's got
don't have anything like I don't have a strong opinion on her either way. I didn't like her in the Spider-Man movies. I'm not sure what I've seen her in outside of Spider-Man and Dune.
So Challengers was her big thing. She was in The Greatest Showman as well. So
I didn't
that's
see
going,
that one. I haven't seen
that's
that
going
one.
back a ways. I mean, she's finding that because, like, she can. She comes from like a modeling background, so she can dance and stuff like quite effectively. Like in terms of her acting range, it's not much. I think the thing that pisses off a lot of people about her is like not so much her as a person or anything. It's more just she's being pushed so
I agree.
fucking hard.
Yeah, I can understand that.
She's like the definition of an astroturfed celebrity. Like they are trying so hard to make her a thing, but nobody really like understands why.
Yeah, she's not somebody that if you put her in the lead role of a movie, I don't see how she's going without it having a pre-existing franchise or fandom. Not sure. Again, I think that's kind of generally speaking for almost everyone in Hollywood these days, but she just doesn't. Who's going to see a movie just because she's the lead in it? And I don't know who they are.
I think Challengers was her first big launch pad. I think that did okay, but not great numbers or anything.
Euphoria. That's what made her.
Yeah, that's what put her on the map.
And I think that's where she fits
anyone see
better.
that?
You know, but little bits of it, but I just didn't care for it. It's not for me.
She's just meh to me.
Yeah,
I don't really.
like,
I don't have a strong emotion.
She's
on her
no
one or the
Rachel
other.
Zegler. I mean, she's never gone out and said anything stupid, considering she's from
No.
Oakland. You know, that's kind of crazy. But, but like, yeah, I just think she's one of those people like Tom Holland. Like, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name now?
Oh,
Well,
Pedro
she was-
Pascal? Who's in
no.
everything?
Seth Green, the people who are going to look eternally like a teenager
Oh yeah.
forever.
Right.
You know, he looks like an aging teenager, like a 50
Kind of like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds, isn't he like 50?
It's like
He's
they don't
Yeah,
reach
he is, yeah.
womanhood or manhood. They just stunted.
I mean, the
They get
pros
old
in
and gray,
shape,
but
though.
they're just
I've got to
stunted.
respect it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Will Wheaton looks like a
Will
50-year-old, 13-year-old.
Right, we were talking about this. Like Patrick Stewart, he's been like 70 for like 80 years. So
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
people who have been
Yeah.
old.
yeah.
You know, Ed
Patrick
You make a
Stewart
deal,
Yeah.
make a deal with the devil, and you get locked in at an age, and they're like, "You locked in at 30, you locked in at 40," and then Patrick Stewart's like, "You locked in at 70 and 30."
Yeah.
Ed Asner came out of the vag as a 60-year-old man.
yeah.
Have you
His
ever
entire
seen
life.
have you ever seen Ian McKellen when he was theoretically young? Like
Yeah.
he
No,
was
I haven't.
fucking old even when he was young.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this the other day. If you look at Humphrey Bogart, like I'm older than William Hartnell. I'm older than William Hartnell when he took the Doctor
Yeah.
Who job, and he
People
looks
age.
75. And
Yeah.
so
I mean, that generation just aged different, man.
well, they
Like,
drank like a MFer, did
yeah.
a bunch of coke, barbiturates, all
Well,
kinds of nasty things.
Sean Connery, when he filmed Doctor No, his very first Bond movie, right? He was 29. He honestly looks about 40. It's just different lifestyle, man. Yeah. It's it's interesting. Now, here's a question for us all. I have a question about Lord of the Rings. Why didn't Sauron put a Balrog or armored trolls at the entrance to Mount Doom? It was the one place that could destroy the ring. I have never heard anyone discuss that plot hole. You can't control a Balrog, so you can put that there.
There was
Like-
only one Balrog left.
Yeah, and if
So-
you did try and put it there, it would just
And
wander
if
off.
and
do
if he
some other
knew it
things.
was there, he would have enlisted him for sure.
Well, and I think part of it isn't part of it.
And the
that
armored
Sauron
trolls are at
thought
the gate.
that Mount Doom was safe within Mordor. Like the idea is that Mordor is the defense you have to breach to get to Mount Doom. He
One
was
does
not
not
expecting
simply
them
walk
to-
into Mordor. Come on.
Yeah, he was not expecting the
Well,
route through Shelob's
yeah.
cave, right?
I can say like in the books, like Sauron's assumption was going to be like if they ever did get their hands on the ring, like my enemies, they're going to use it against me. They would never ever destroy it. They would never be that retarded. And so like
Yeah, that was
he
another
wouldn't try
aspect.
to guard the entrance to Mount Doom because like you would never think they would do something like that. His biggest fear, someone like Gandalf or
Well, it's Aragorn is
Excuse
the
me,
one he's quite
Galadriel.
explicitly in fear of, because
Yeah.
Aragorn goes to Mount Doom specifically because he knows that Sauron fears him, so he distracts Sauron's attention. Like Sauron
Yeah.
thinks the threat coming toward Mount Doom is Aragorn, Gandalf, Pippin, and so he needs to mass all his forces in front of the Black Gate. He's not
I
expecting.
like how you
Frodo to walk
included
into the
Pippin
back
in
door.
that.
Well, he
threat.
does. Yeah, it's like he's kind of even Pippin's important because when Pippin looks into the Palantir, Sauron thinks that's the Hobbit who has the ring. So Pippin's still quite important. So basically, he could have put people on Mount Doom. He just didn't think he needed to because he thought all his enemies were in front of him.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that feature of the ring does actually save it until Gollum and Sam, everything happens, right? Like
Mhm.
if it was up to Frodo, he wouldn't have made it. Just Frodo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the whole essence of the story. Like, particularly when Gandalf says, like, my heart tells me that Gollum still has some part to play in this. Literally, he's the one who destroys the ring because Frodo could not have done it by himself. He would have been
Frodo
overcome
failed.
by the power of it.
Oh, it's kind of fantastic, right? The two of them wrestling over the ring destroys it. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
storytelling,
Mhm.
baby.
Yeah, because that was a tough one to film, I would imagine, like to make it not look silly when Gollum's like wrestling with an invisible person and he's just like
Yeah.
bouncing around in midair. But like again,
Well,
it looks
that's
cool.
that's why the Rings of Power is so retarded, because Sauron goes to Khazad-dûm and the fucking Balrog is there. He would have probably figured it out at some point, and they woke him up for a second, and then conveniently the Balrog just goes back to sleep for a couple thousand years.
Is that still getting a season 3 now? Is that happening?
Yes.
Well, I think when Jeff Bezos went to Mar-a-Lago, Trump told him to cancel it, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I mean, if he does, that'll be the greatest fucking achievement of his presidency. Like, he'll do that, and then
Executive
he'll summon Bob Iger there and say, right, decanonize the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes, my liege.
The fact that the funny thing is, this isn't that crazy. Like, to think if the right person gets in his ear and they're like, "Hey, Mr. President," and he'd be like, "All right, let's do it."
I can
honestly,
see
I
if Bob
think
Iger goes there. Why are you making everything so gay in Star Wars? What's going on?
Elon Musk is like the gateway drug to Donald Trump. Like
Yeah,
it's almost
yeah.
like because he's like fairly plugged into like the online culture, and if you can get his attention, he'll probably whisper it to Trump one day.
Hey, the vice president's
That's how
a
you
Lord
make
of the
it.
Rings fan. Don't forget that.
It's either
So-
Barron or it's Elon. Barron, Trump, or Elon. And if we can get one of them to get that to Trump, maybe he'll sign an executive order.
Baron's a Nephilim. Like, dude,
Yeah.
it's huge. I love that one. The
The meme where he's giant. Yeah.
That's so
He's
funny.
like 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
It always cuts out just before he gets to the door. As
Yeah.
well. We should probably talk about some stuff that's actually going on, I guess.
What would that be?
Yeah.
I was gonna, you know what? I was gonna cover the Oscar nominations, but fuck it, I don't care. So I'm gonna cover the Razzies instead.
Oh, Amelia Perez is gonna sweep. It's gonna get more Academy Awards than Lord of the Rings. You know it is.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I can tell you though, for worst picture, we've got our nominees here: Joker 2, Madam Web, Megalopolis, Reagan, and Borderlands. It's so funny,
Jeez.
like Borderlands is inspired so much hatred in people.
Anti-movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's anti-entertainment. Yes. Borderland. I completely forgot I watched that too.
Everyone did. That's the problem.
It's got that
It-
fucking neuralizer at the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so dumb. It's like that high degree of retardation. I think your brain just shuts down at a certain point, and it's like, oh, no, I just can't do this. I can't deal with it.
Has anyone seen Joker 2 a second time?
No,
Nope, never will.
I'm just
No.
curious how much worse it gets on that second viewing.
I'm not even going to watch Joker again now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have no desire to watch the Joker after watching Joker 2. But I'm just curious if it gets significantly worse on the second viewing. Or
It probably, I can't imagine it gets better, Jeremy.
I don't think.
We're
Yeah,
told in 20 years,
You get some-
media literacy. That
you get some
we're
people
gonna,
out there who are like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, it's fucking great."
Same time as the sequel trilogy, everybody will start loving the sequel trilogy. Apparently, that's what's supposed to happen. I saw a meme earlier of like two people. This person was crying. And they're like, something about the sequels, and then the other person screaming that you're racist. And then it says Lord of the Rings fan. It's got the bearded Chad, and he's like, I like Lord of the Rings. And then the bearded Chad says, yes. It's like Star Wars fans with Lord of the Rings, you know.
Wow, it was Lord of the Rings memes that posted that. That's a great, great account to follow, by the way.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, apparently the Balrogs serve Morgoth and not Sauron. So that's why, yeah, that makes sense.
And might not have joined it, maybe, we don't know, but they're pretty even on power levels, pretty even. So
yeah, I'd love to see Sauron versus a Balrog just to see how it would go.
If you have the three of them, right, like Frodo, Sam, and Gollum, maybe they got on a bit better in this vision, but they arrive at Mount Doom and there's just a Balrog at the entrance, like, hey,
what's up?
like, shit.
Yeah, I think I would just push Gollum to the front. It's like, right, time for Operation Human Shield, my friend. You take this on. Here's a question as well. Nerdrotic, when are you and Drinker going to go on the Unsubscribed podcast? That would be a good show.
We get Drinker to Texas. We'll get him on.
Yes. Bring me there, Gary.
Those guys are awesome. You should definitely take them up on their invitation if they offer it, if you're around Texas.
Yeah, for sure. We should probably mention, actually, we're going to be doing something in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And I have an update on that too. So go ahead, Drinker, and then I'll add to it. So I just got something confirmed on that.
Wow.
All right, I'm just going to stumble across the finish line with this one. Yeah, we're going to be at MegaCon. Me, Gary, Jeremy. I think Disparu is going to be there as well. I didn't even know until I saw the set list.
Yes.
Yes, so, Disparu goes outside once in a while.
Yeah. Is he staying the whole weekend?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Cool. I'm going to get him in a headlock next time I see him. But yeah, we're all going to be at MegaCon in Orlando the first
weekend of February. Yeah, February 7th, 8th, and 9th. We'll be there. And February 8th, Saturday night, is our fan meetup at City Walk, Universal Studios City Walk at the Red Coconut Club. Same place it was last year.
That place is great. I don't remember leaving last time.
Yeah, no, you don't. I've got the video of you and Ryan just shit-faced talking in the camera, like completely. And I was like,
we made sure you got home safely.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Gary.
You and Ryan were so drunk, dude. It was so bad. It was horrible. But I just got it confirmed about an hour ago that our panel will be Saturday at 12 noon at MegaCon.
How did we get prime time? Holy crap.
Prime fucking time. Yes. Our panel will be at Saturday at 12 noon. Theater 3 room in 220C. I'll get all the information updated to our website and everything like that. But that's the first time I've announced that publicly because I just got it locked in. We've been working to get Saturday for our panel. So, you know, it's going to be great. Rippaverse is going to be there. Geeks and Gamers, Drinker, Nerdrotic. We've got some new merch we're going to be rolling out and everything like that. So I can't wait to see all of you guys out there.
And then you get to come to the table afterwards and meet us. You can do shots with me. It will be fun. I guarantee it. Well, I'll have fun. I don't care about the rest of you guys, but yeah, I will.
Yeah. So Saturday noon on a con weekend, that is prime time. That's about as good of a time as we could have asked for. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So good stuff indeed.
Sounds like it'll be fun. But yeah, that's our little announcement. I have to say as well, I was looking at the Razzies for Worst Actor. We've got Jack Black, which I think
he should be nominated multiple times.
Yeah. I was honestly like, when I did my Mufasa review, I was like, who spells death of fun more like as an actor? Is it Jack Black or is it
The Rock?
Seth Rogen.
No,
who's the least funny out of the two of them because they are pretty dire, both of them.
Yeah,
Who does more drugs? I think Jack Black does more drugs than Seth Rogen. I think Seth Rogen just smokes a lot of pot.
Food counts as a drug.
I've just yeah, with Jack Black, I've just got this feeling of like I know I'm not funny anymore. I don't give a fuck, and like I'll just collect those paychecks until the career just like peters out.
Well,
That's where he seems to be now.
how bad do you think this? And again, I don't know Minecraft at all. I don't play Minecraft, but like, how do we think this Minecraft movie is going to be a complete and total failure? I mean, it looks bad, but there's a huge fandom that goes with Minecraft. So, but even Minecraft fans seems to hate the trailers.
Yeah,
so far.
I think it's got potential to be Borderlands level of success.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll do better than Borderlands just out of the gate for being so much more of a popular and current IP, but you might just get a huge wave of people who go and see it the once and hate it. Whereas Borderlands' problem was that nobody even went to see it once, and so it made no money. Also, it's going to be really hard to beat Borderlands for film that you watch and every single second of it screams, I hate myself. I don't think Minecraft's even going to do that. Like, it'll have a degree of interest, I think, in it. And if it's a shit film, then that will ultimately tell. But it'll still get quite a few bums on seats, I would guess.
It's a good opening week.
A lot of people's assumptions about what would happen to it, I feel, would happen to its sequel rather than the first one. Because
yeah,
it is
that's
what
true.
the IP is so fucking huge.
It is absolutely insane how big Minecraft is.
You know,
And
back in my day in 1927, when I made that first call, by the way, drinker, it was a drunk dial.
You did the first transatlantic.
I did the first transatlantic call. I said, "Bitch, where's my money?" But
you're the first trans person.
Look at how that's me. Hello. Look how automatically MauLer said, "Well, when it gets the sequel, you know, there was a time when we just didn't plan for sequels. They used to just make like one movie and hope that one movie was good."
Nah.
And now it's just automatic, even for shit now.
Yeah.
It's like baked in. Like, it's almost like in their contract when you do something like this, you have to put in some hooks for a potential sequel. Always has to be there.
Yep.
And most of the time, nobody wants it. In fact, nobody wanted the original movie in the first place.
Well, even when we don't want a sequel, they give it to us. Joker 2. We didn't want it, and they still like, hey, we're giving you this one.
Squid Game season 2.
Yeah, I did not like Squid Game season 2 at all. I didn't mind it. The first episode was phenomenal. I loved the first episode of season 2, and I was hooked. And then after that, I was like, no, like it just, I didn't like. It felt just like it was regurgitating things from the first season, which it clearly was. That's fine. I did like the front man. Is that his official title in it? The front man.
Yeah, the front man.
Yeah. He's great, but I didn't like anything else about it after the first episode. First episode though, with like Russian roulette and everything, it was so good. But after that, it fell apart for me quickly.
I'm going to reserve judgment until I've seen the second part of this, because it's basically season 2, part 2 that we're going to get. Because it's really just like continuation of the same story. So I'll wait until I get the resolution for it. But like
faded from reality like almost immediately. Like nobody was talking about it. Yeah, it just came out a couple weeks ago.
I think you're never going to recapture that same novelty. And the fact that like we were all fucking locked up in our houses at the time, like we had no option but to watch stuff like that. That definitely helped. Yeah, and we don't have that anymore.
There's also huge chunks of it which are just it's dragging itself out because it doesn't have enough story to be 2 separate seasons, and yet they have split it into 2 separate seasons.
Everyone loves the detective plotline.
Oh yeah, I remembered so much about the detective. I love the bit where he goes on the boat.
It's so good.
And then stays in the boat for the next like 5 episodes.
Every time we cut to him, I was legit like, "Oh, shut up! Like, it doesn't matter. Move on."
Yeah. The front man though, he was also he was Storm Shadow in the Snake Eyes movie that I despise, that I wish would die and never ever be mentioned again. But that guy is a really good actor.
Yeah, he's basically Asian Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes, he's really good.
I did like the I don't know what you call him, the recruiter. You know, the scene where like they're playing Russian roulette with each other. Like fantastic. That's some good shit, like there.
Like, so that first episode was great. I was loving everything that they were going that direction. But yeah, it just I mean, look, just too much emphasis on the stupid trans character. I'm sorry, too much emphasis on that nonsense, and then making it this badass, like I was in special forces. There's a lot of things I should say about that. but it's Drinker's Channel, so I'll leave it at that. But
They were all
dumb
in
as
special
hell.
forces,
you know
Jeremy.
what?
By the end of the
Well, I
fucking
am
season,
gonna-
all of them was shooting for 10 years.
Honestly,
No,
this is one of
that
those
one character
occasions where I
being-
will say, like, I did not have a problem with that character. I didn't feel like they tried to push the trans thing too hard. I don't think they tried to make any kind of political point with it or anything. It just felt like a character who had a valid reason for being there, and I was okay with them. I thought they came across as good person towards the end, and like, yeah, they were an asset to the team because they were in the fucking army. I was
Part
okay
of the
with it.
aspect I thought
Yeah.
was kind of
Didn't like
interesting is they were there for more of a selfish reason than we've seen with almost anybody. The fact that
Yes.
everyone's close to being killed with their debt, while this person is like, I want particular surgeries to be done to feel better about myself, right? And then that leads to the decision to stay, which then leads to the person who's been the nicest to them the whole time getting killed. I thought that was kind of neat. I was like, yeah, those are the consequences of your actions. Watch them.
Yeah, I hated it.
I
Don't fucking care. I don't
Good
care
to
about
see you're keeping an open mind on this one, Jeremy.
I don't give a shit about your surgeries. I don't care about your mental fucking problems. I don't care, and it shouldn't be a storyline. And it wouldn't have been a storyline if the show was written in 2010, but it needed to be a storyline because it was current day bullshit. Shout out to Az. But yeah, so it was current day bullshit is all it was, and I'm tired of that crap, and I thought it just took away from it because, like I said, it's on the nose for current situations going on, which to me takes away from the overall story of what we're trying to tell. So yeah, I didn't like it at all. Fuck
Fair
it.
enough. Fair enough. Here's a question. Any bets on which celebrities are going to try and backtrack on the woke ideas they tried to push on everyone?
Half. Half.
Half, you think? Half.
I think half, dude. Half. We're talking like celebrities, not all working actors.
Yeah.
Okay, so working actors will be half. Well, because they were just going with the flow, whatever. Major
Yeah.
celebrities like Jamie Lee Curtis and Mark Hamill, never, ever, ever in a million years. Mark Ruffalo, never.
No.
Mark Hamill is locked in there.
A lot of them will be never, but some will come around. But working actors and below the line people and stuff, easily half.
I remember. Oh, go ahead, Gary.
Okay, well, just because they've been silenced. Now, there's not going to be much left of their industry. I don't know if you checked out that Vulture article. Is actually really good. There's some meat in that article. I just did a video on it. Production's down 40%, and this is before the fire. 40% in LA. So there's going to be a lot of people out of work, but there was tons of people who were just quiet. And now it's time for them to speak up more, and we'll see. But like major, I don't know, what is a celebrity now? Somebody like, is Jamie Lee Curtis? She's not selling any tickets for anything. She's not putting a single butt.
Everyone's
in
going to say
Well,
Freaky
I mean,
Friday too.
We just know, we know her from her
know.
tits from Trading Places. Okay, I mean that's respect, but I mean,
Yeah, I'm always going to respect her for that dance routine in True Lies.
in
man.
True Lies.
Oh,
yeah.
I
But
think,
to be fair, that was 30 years ago. So yeah, it's been a while since she's been a relevant box office force.
I think that there's going to be a perception that people might have flipped, but I think what we're ultimately going to see, and it goes back to an interview with Adam Carolla where someone was asking him about how many people in Hollywood are conservative, and he was like, who are the people that you don't hear from? And they were like, they're probably conservative. And so I think that what you're going to see is maybe more people that were quiet are going to feel a little more confident to speak up. And then, so that's going to give the illusion that more people are flipping. And it's not so much that more people are flipping, as it's just more people are going to have the confidence to speak up. And then you might have other people that will follow suit that might flip along the way. But I think that's what you're going to see more of than anything.
Lots of people will just shut up as well. I mean, lots of people who
Absolutely.
were previously vocal won't speak. I'm generally against this sort of thing, but I mean, like show trials, could we have those? Like, what I'm imagining is we could bring back, say, like the House Un-American Activities Committee, and you could bring Seth Rogen in front of like some committee and say, on this date, Mr. Rogen, you tweeted that it doesn't matter if people break into your car and steal shit because you can just buy more. Do you stand by this assertion? And if he says yes, then you just say, okay, you can't work ever again. And just have like a whole list of people who say completely dumb, ridiculous things on Twitter and just ask them if they still believe it. Make it very public. It'll be really funny.
Absolutely.
There's the angel and the demon right on my shoulder with all this stuff, where it's like, on the one hand, it's like, we should just forgive and forget and unify, and let's just move forward into something better, right? And then there's the other part that's like, You know
Vengeance.
what? A bit of fucking humiliation is in order.
I think it's Trigger,
And, I
case by
just-
case basis. I think so, you know what? Disney can burn. Disney can burn and die tomorrow, and I wouldn't shed a tear or lose any sleep. I don't
I'm
give a
picturing
fuck.
like
I
a
like this
chill drinker who's on his shoulder with a white, like full suit, just being like, "Be chill, man." And then the other side is just this gremlin drinker that's like, "No, we will destroy them all."
No, I mean, this might be breaking news. All these people are fake as hell, so they're going to go what direction, whatever's going to keep them relevant and making them money, and that's either shutting up or going hardcore the other way because they think that's the only like Mark Hamill goes hardcore the only way because that's the only way he gets attention. He wasn't even getting like voice gigs anymore, so like he's whether he's on the Democratic payroll or that's probably. Or George Takei. Would anybody be talking about George Takei if he wasn't making stupid tweets? No, he's a day rate actor, according to William Shatner, the true captain. But yeah, that's why you see all these businessmen who are against Trump and now all of a sudden going to Mar-a-Lago because they want to keep, for one, they don't want to get investigated. The H-1B stuff that's going on within their companies. There's a bunch of, they don't want to get audited. They're trying to preempt a lot of this stuff. So
King's
it's just
Landing.
business. It's King's Landing. Yes.
Yeah.
I would be content with them just all being silent as well, because like the actors they've always. I mean, just to clarify, I'm not actually sincerely in favor of show trials and putting people on McCarthy.
Come on.
Maybe just a
Right.
backtrack on that now.
But
That's not gonna
I'm
make it
just
in the
floating
edit.
You were all
the
fired up
idea,
for that
okay,
one, man.
just in case anyone happened to think. But no, like actors have always done this, and it used to be the case. You had the 80s, and you had people like Charlton Heston who worked as surrogates for the Reagan administration, and he wasn't a very good surrogate for that. Actors are just not good commentators on matters of politics
Heston
generally.
was ahead of the NRA forever too. So
yeah, I mean, it's like, but like you can kind of, if you agree with them, it's one thing. If you don't agree with them, is another thing. It just doesn't really work as a standard. Actors just should be denied access to all social media, and all of their lines should be written for them because that's the thing they're really good at: speaking other people's lines. If a load of people are allowed to squirrel away and pretend like they didn't say a bunch of ridiculous things, then it's just on us to remember that they said those very ridiculous things and keep an eye out for it when they start opening their mouths again.
I agree completely. And my stance has always been that I would rather not know anyone in Hollywood's opinion than to hear from the people that I might agree with. I don't care what your opinions are. The only reason that I and others probably are celebrating when someone is more, in line with our thinking currently in Hollywood is because it offsets the massive left-wing propaganda coming out of Hollywood. But ultimately, I don't care what any of their opinions are. I want to judge people based on them as an actor and them in movies and the script and all of that, not what their opinion is. That's what I think we should hopefully want to get back to, is where actors get paid to shut up and pretend to be other people because we don't care who you are in reality. So that's it.
Exactly. A true artist will let his or her art speak for itself. Anthony Hopkins is famous for don't listen to us. We're a bunch of freaking idiots. And he's right.
Kurt Russell said the same thing. It's like we're the court jesters of your world.
So what they were their main concern out of this Vulture article is they try to frame it like they're scared. They're like, oh, Trump's gonna get me. And they're talking about self-censoring, which is something they've been doing for the last 4 years anyway, just on one side of the aisle. But they're really scared of losing relevance, which they've already lost, and they acknowledge that, even to the point where one Hollywood agent says, Hollywood doesn't matter as much as it thinks it does. Like that's a huge quote, because it doesn't. It's reached maturity, and it's been on a decline for a little while, and it hastened it by making an enemy out of half the country and alienating a lot of people overseas with just American politics, right? With woke American politics, which annoys everybody, internationally. And now they're having to face that they've lost relevance, and how are we gonna, and they keep like, how are we gonna regroup? How are we gonna resupply the troops to go back to the fight? It's like, go fucking entertain, dance, be the court jester. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's all we care about. Denzel Washington's one of my favorite actors. I don't know his politics. I think he's probably a lot more level-headed than most people in Hollywood, though, based on some of the things that he
RDJ.
said. A level-headed
liberal.
Except he did join that Avengers anti-Trump.
Yeah,
call.
He did.
Oh my God,
No,
that's
he's
pure
done that
cringe, man.
twice.
Yeah,
He's actually done that twice. He did it in 2016.
Yeah.
And he did it here. So.
Like Christian Bale, my favorite actor. And what do we know about Christian Bale? We don't know his politics. We know he'll slap a bitch if you walk up to him in public and ask
he
him
knows
for a
you better get
picture.
that fucking lighting right.
But that doesn't bother me as long as
Don't
he's
try
a
to
good
shut me
actor.
up, McJay.
No. If I ever met Christian Bale and he doesn't cuss me out, I'll walk away disappointed. If he's nice, I'm like, what a disappointment.
Just put a flashlight in his face.
Say the light thing. Say the light thing.
I'm trying to do my
Say good
scene
for
with
you.
Bryce.
Oh, good for you.
This is one of the greatest rants of all time, dude.
It is.
It's so overblown and ridiculous. You're like, what is this guy doing?
I think the thing I love about a good rant most of all is like when you think they're simmering down and then you realize like, oh no, fuck, they're going right back in again.
Yeah. And those happen a lot. That just got caught. Like those happen all the time. The Tom Cruise one was pretty good. It's not as good as Christian
Bale.
Bale.
Yeah, the Bale
Yeah.
one's really good.
The
Bale-
Tom Cruise one I can understand as well. Like he was under a lot of pressure. Like, if that had gone wrong, the whole movie would have been shut down basically because people didn't.
To justify him a bit, not that I think, but he is a very, very intense actor. He truly falls into his roles. So I can see why he worked up. That was overkill, though. His reaction was kind of crazy.
Did
And it shows you
ever hear
McGee. It showed you McGee had no power over Bale whatsoever. He just had to sit there and listen.
Did you ever hear the what was it? The story from Tandy Newton when she was shooting Mission Impossible 2 with him? Like when he was
Cruise?
Yeah, Cruise.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was John Woo who directed it, right? So John Woo doesn't speak great English, and so he was kind of in a booth, like removed from like most of the filming. And Tom Cruise was really fucking unhappy about this one particular scene they were doing together, and he was like, "Right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read your fucking dialogue back to you, and then see how you feel about it." And so he was doing it, right? And apparently, he had this fucking zit on his forehead, like. And he was so worked up and he was so pissed off and his blood pressure was so high that she could actually watch it getting bigger as he was ranting at her.
Did it pop? That would be funny.
And she was like, I fucking forgot everything he said because all I could think about was that big zit on his forehead.
That's hilarious.
Well, that might be the best thing to come from Mission Impossible 2. So
That movie has special dialogue for sure.
I do.
It really does. Yeah.
I haven't seen it since I watched. Like I liked the first one. I didn't love the first one, but I liked the first one. The second one, I was so excited for that movie. I've only seen it the one time, I think, and I remember just being incredibly disappointed with it. Then also the third one was good.
I mean, obviously, John Woo can direct an action scene like nobody's business. Like, the problem comes with the whole plot surrounding it and like all the dialogue and the character stuff. Like, that's where he can fall flat. But I did like the action sequences. I like the fight sequences in Mission Impossible 2. There's things to pull out of the fire on that one, but yeah, overall, it's like a pretty fucking weak entry in the series.
Yeah, I feel like most people feel like that might be the worst entry in the whole series. Maybe
Probably is. Yeah.
two, because I think
lot of people do.
one's really good. I like one. One was really
Was
good.
it JJ who directed 3?
JJ directed
Three.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Three. Then Brad
Three's,
Bird did
like-
4.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, JJ directed something good.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
Hey,
As
I
a
like
hired
I
gun,
like
if
Super
somebody
8.
yeah, if
I like
somebody-
Super 8.
Super 8's shit.
Super 8's pretty good. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Super 8.
Terrible.
I
Fucking
like
trash.
Super 8.
Garbage.
It's one of the few times I've seen someone vomit in terror on screen, and I just think that makes it automatically awesome.
I like Super 8. I like Super 8.
Here's a question, or a statement, actually. Bisected Tuscan Raider child, which I think is a great name. Evening, gentlemen. Currently prepping for my first video and wanted to say thanks for the inspiration. Been watching for years and hope that one day I can visit the bar. Hail to the panel. Down with Disney.
Yes. It's a message we can all get behind.
Do not disagree, yeah. I did want to say as well, in terms of the Razzies, the Worst Actress Awards, the nominations are Lady Gaga, Dakota Johnson, Kate Blanchett, Jennifer Lopez, and Bryce Dallas Howard.
For
I could get
what?
behind all of it.
Jennifer Lopez for what?
What was that one
that-
where she was in like a
Netflix
mech
movie?
suit thing?
Oh, the Titanfall movie.
Yeah, that was it.
That's the one she got nominated for.
Oh,
Yep.
the Netflix movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Atlas or something like that.
Atlas.
Screaming.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
oh god, that was bad. What did Dakota Johnson get?
Madam Web.
Madam
Oh,
Web.
Madam Web. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a shame if
makes
Madam Web won any of the Razzies though, because it's such an enjoyable bad movie, and there's a lot of heart in that. I don't think it deserves to be shat on.
If
Um,
Catwoman can win
it's-
that, then Madam Web can win it too. Maybe everyone knows, that it's.
I think if you put the sex scenes back into that porno movie, it would have been really good. So, Madam Web.
For sure.
That's where Sydney Sweeney got all of her fame because of the red carpet. I mean, everybody freaked out over her red carpet premiere, and she went to the
she
next level.
played that to perfection.
Yes,
It's
she
like,
did.
What
Yes,
do we
she
do?
did.
I'm in a shit movie that everyone's making fun of. What
Yep.
can I do? You know what? Tits out. Let's go.
Tits out.
Mm-hmm.
It was great for thumbnails as well, because for like a month it was just constant tits in everyone's thumbnails.
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, whether it was that movie or
Yeah.
anything to do with her, it's just boobs everywhere. It was great.
At that moment,
I
we
did
knew
it for
Trump would
I did
win.
it for a drinker fucking what was it called? Drinkers Chasers, where it's just like a clip from the live stream, and it had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but I just put
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney on it, and
I
it
kept
honestly
putting-
got like
yeah.
twice as many views as like a regular one.
I put Sydney Sweeney in my like Helldivers 2 stream thumbnails. It was just Sydney Sweeney and the Helldivers background, and I seriously got like 300 or 400 more viewers than I normally get just
Dude,
because Sydney Sweeney was in it.
Perry,
It's like
we-
Disparu does it all the time. It's like
Yeah.
you'll have Sydney Sweeney and fucking Rachel Zegler going weird and like put them together.
Yeah. Like for my Civil War review, we were having trouble with the thumbnail. Like, there's no real recognizable actors. Perry's just all Sydney Sweeney. I'm all, okay.
Why not?
I was using it for like every video there for a while, and it was a great time. It was a great
Yeah,
time.
it was.
Yeah.
I totally agree with the Bryce Dallas Howard one as well. Like when she was in Argyle, like she
dude.
has fallen off hard since Jurassic World.
Was
I
she
mean,
I'm
that
just gonna
great in
say-
that film?
I hated
that?
her in Jurassic World.
I mean, I hated her like as a character, but like in terms of like how hot she was,
Yeah,
that
she was
probably
attractive. She was
That was
attractive
all
in that
she
one.
was.
So. Okay,
that was
I-
peak
all right,
Bryce Dallas Howard.
All right, that's what you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I
I'm
understand.
not gonna go by any kind of metric of like acting ability or anything. No.
Pro Argyle is so bad.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing because that was Matthew Vaughn.
I remember seeing trailers to that thinking that was going to be really good. And I mean, I didn't watch the movie, but I heard everybody else say how bad it was going to be or how bad it was. But it looked good. The trailers looked good. Matthew Vaughn, he's so like, what's happened to that guy? Like, he had
I
so
do
much
not know.
for him.
It felt like that movie was community service for him. I think he got in trouble or something. I don't know, because all his other movies are pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's due a stinker, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like another movie that's got Henry Cavill in it that just fucking wastes him. Like, god damn it.
Oh, he is he is the bait in the bait and switch. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Enola Holmes, Argyle, Witcher. He is the bait in the bait and switch.
I had to say as well, like worst screenplay nominations: Craven the Hunter, Joker 2, Madam Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan. I have to ask, like, as well, has anyone on this panel actually watched Megalopolis?
I keep wanting to and meaning to because it's something about it really fascinates me as a vanity project, but I've still not seen it, and it's not on my top list of things anymore.
I'm
A
surprised
friend
Gary hasn't
recommended
seen it.
a 3-minute sort of montage of the funniest things that happened in it, and the friend said, "You don't need to see it if you've seen that." That's the
I went to see it, Jeremy. I was gonna see it at home, and then I accidentally watched The Godfather instead.
Oh no!
damn it,
How
wrong
did that
disc.
happen?
I accidentally watch wrong movies all the time.
Yeah. Whoops.
There is something kind of fascinating about it. You know, this guy who's has had this massive, great reputation, but it's quite an old reputation at this point.
Yeah.
So confident in this idea that he's not been able to get off the ground for about 40 years, that he sells an actual vineyard in order to fund it. Like, who gives up that much free wine is one
It was his North
question that I want to ask.
Yeah,
and then
is his
turns
Marin
out-
vineyard too? By
yeah,
the way, and his poor wife died during the filming of it.
Mm.
I knew how bad this was early last year because I was doing a little bit of a visit to a studio, and they told me like they were not like A-list Hollywood studios or anything. It's like Coppola has gone to everyone, and he came to us and presented us with Megalopolis. and asked us to show it, and we said no because it's so fucking terrible. And I knew then, like, okay, it's got to be something next level bad.
It's
But
also
yeah,
a really
like-
bad idea because like he seems to he gave every impression that he had something very profound and very important that he wanted to say with this movie. And you know, he did all of the pre-publicity material, made a big point of the fact that he'd hired actors who'd been cancelled because he wanted to make sure that this was a universally appreciable and understandable piece of social commentary, which is not taking aim at any one particular side. So, you know, I've cast so and so and so and so because it's all about the importance of speaking to each other in dialogue and all the rest of that. But from what it sounds like, the actual plot and story of the movie is incomprehensible.
Yes.
If you've got something you really want to say, it might be an idea making sure people understand what you're trying to say, because otherwise it's a big waste of everybody's time.
I mean, the thing is as well, right? Coppola is 85 years old, right? This is realistically probably going to be his last film. And you would think, like, if you believe that strongly, like, in something like... I guess what I'm going to say is, like, if you know this is probably going to be the last project that you give to the world, why would you make it this? Like, is he just so detached from, like, what is actually a good film that, like, he thinks this was going to be a massive success and so he went for it? Or did he just not care? Was it just like, well, I like this thing. It's always been a passion project of mine. I don't care if people like it or hate it. It's just something I wanted to make. I don't know.
Very, very rarely do a lot of these guys. I don't know if they think about their legacy from that perspective. You know, like what was his name? The guy that
Ridley
did all the
Scott
80s,
certainly doesn't.
Yeah, like the 80s, the guy that did all those 80s movies. Like John Hughes. John Hughes. You know, didn't John Hughes just like didn't he kind of just disappear?
Well, he died.
Well, he died, but he died after. No. But didn't he? But he walked away before he passed, right? Like, didn't he kind of just go into seclusion before he died? Am I wrong about that? I know he died.
He was still planning stuff.
I thought he died. He died at a fairly young age, but I thought that he had kind of moved away from the industry without, you know, like he felt like he had left his stamp. If I'm wrong about that, but I felt like that's what happened with him.
Oh God, what was that last movie he did? Like Baby's Day Out or some shit like that. I'm gonna.
That was his last movie.
I don't know if that was him or not. I know it was something like that.
All right, hold on. Let me see.
John
So
last movie.
Yeah, so he did like Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles,
Curly
Strays and Automobiles.
Curly Sue was the last one he directed.
And when did he die? So how long after did he die? Because I don't think that he just died, and like that's why I feel like he
2009.
So yeah, he waited 1994. No, he did movies after that. God fuck. Google was not.
His last one was Drill Bit Taylor.
What year was that?
2008.
Okay.
So
he died a year later.
Yeah.
Drill Bit Taylor.
That movie killed him. But yeah, he wasn't director on that one. He just provided the story for it.
Okay.
So yeah, his last directing gig was Curly Sue. Yeah, 1991.
So he did give up directing for a long while.
It's kind of interesting.
He was supposed to do Christmas Vacation, and he hated Chevy Chase. He couldn't fucking stand him. So that's why he didn't direct that.
Yeah. But yeah, I was going to say it's kind of interesting to compare, right? Because you on one hand you got the Ridley Scotts that are basically spamming movies.
Yeah.
Obviously are about to fucking not be able to make them anymore. And then on the other end, you've got Quentin Tarantino that's like, I don't know that I want to ruin my legacy by making another one.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel the buzz, like, sort of thing. Which I think, didn't Ridley Scott say, like, oh, shut up, make more? Or something like that.
He did, yeah. Wow, that's the duality of man right there. And it kind of explains their later careers quite neatly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? If Quentin came out with a new movie, everyone would be like, yeah, let's fucking go. If Ridley Scott does, you're like, oh.
Not again.
It must be a
it's like, oh, Ridley, please stop.
Which of your classics are you ruining this time?
Yeah.
George Lucas is probably like, just stay here. Stay as long as you can. Don't make more movies. Stay the hero.
Yeah.
So you go back to before the prequels, man. Nobody criticized George Lucas. Nobody. Then he made the prequels, and then half the people hated him. So then he sold to Disney, and now everybody loves him again. George wasn't that bad.
It's funny because people still hold a bit of a candle for George coming back and fixing Star Wars. It's like,
Well,
come on, man. He's
Well,
like 90 years
the George
old.
Lucas cut's about to come out for Rise of Skywalker. It's gonna happen. I'm confident of it. So
Yeah,
he's gonna.
Mike Zero told me.
Yeah.
Was there a thing of Filoni said like the door's always open for him to come back and direct something or be involved or whatever? It'd just be so fucking funny if they just randomly announced, yeah, George Lucas is directing episode 10. We'd be like, what?
My favorite clip, and it was on like the Jar Jar Abrams YouTube channel or something, but it was during The Force Awakens, and Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams is sitting there talking about George Lucas like he's dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There's not
clip
a
is
day
literally
that-
called
yeah.
Kathy
Yeah.
thinks that George
Yes,
Lucas
yes.
is dead.
She's like, there's not a day that goes by that we don't think about what would George.
I know.
Yeah.
Too bad he's
literally-
not around to ask anymore.
Literally
Oh,
handed
well.
you a sequel trilogy outline, and you threw it away.
I just imagine George in the corner somewhere, be like, "Yeah, I'm still alive."
Hey guys, I'm over here.
Yeah.
I'm in the cafeteria.
Just there in his check shirt, just eating a big sub or something.
Yeah. He's getting old. He's not moving around as well as he used
How
to.
old is he now? Is he in his 80s now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And he's
I
got a
think he was-
young daughter with his new wife. That was
Yeah, he's
part of the reason he
80.
wasn't coming back.
He is 80 years.
80. Jeez.
Nothing like
So,
spurting out a kid when you're 80.
yeah. Didn't Jimmy Doohan do the same thing? Like he had a kid at like late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
or something. Like
A lot of actors did. They had their fun, then they settled down with some young actress and had a kid in their 70s and makes taking him to soccer practice look really awkward. Who's your grandpa there? Oh, it's my dad.
in fact, yeah, it's like Al Pacino,
the creator of Star Wars.
isn't he?
My grandpa.
But yeah, it's like my kid's gonna know me for about 5 years before I die of old age.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Like, it's very responsible. Gary, I was going to ask you actually about Better Man, right? So, you know, there's Brits on the panel here, and some of us are old enough to remember that Robbie Williams used to be a thing. Jeremy's probably like, who the hell is Robbie
Nope.
Williams?
I remember Robbie Williams when his song Millennium was such a
Millennium.
big hit back
Right,
in the
it's the-
day.
Did that actually make it to
Millennium,
America?
yes, Millennium
did.
was
That's
a
the
big
only
hit in
one.
America. That's the
Yeah.
only song I've ever heard from Robbie Williams,
Yeah.
and
Same
it was
here.
huge. It was huge here in the United States. And after that, I'd never heard his name again until this movie came out.
Yeah.
That's
Because
it.
like, yeah, he was part of Take That, massive band in the 90s back here in the UK, like left it, like went solo, had an incredible successful career in terms of like at least coverage and sales and stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s. Famous for like trying to crack America and never quite making it. Like I don't think you guys really took to him that well. I always thought he was a momentous prick. Like he always came across as arrogant as fuck. But anyway, that being the case, now we've got a autobiography of him. It's a biopic of Robbie.
Planet of the Apes.
About 20 years after it was relevant, but okay, sure.
So is he still relevant now? Like
Nope. Not in this place.
when was so it's been about 20 years removed since he had his relevancy. in your
His
area?
era was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay,
He
okay.
probably peaked around like 2002, 2003, and then started to fade out. And now he's old. Like he's like 45, pushing 50. He's too old to be a pop star and kind of irrelevant. Now they put up a biopic of him, and he's got like a CGI monkey that's playing him. I don't know.
I've
but
heard it was
cost
good, though.
Apparently, it's quite good, but it cost $110 million to make, and it's made about $10 million at the box office worldwide. So it's on track to probably be one of the biggest flops of 2025, and we're only
Easily.
January.
It's also the thing because the worldwide, because I looked at the numbers only the first weekend it was out, but I think it only made $1 million in this country, which is the only country in which he's ever been relevant. So, like, if it's making that much in the UK, that's just abysmal, even for a domestic audience for us, and we're all supposed to know who he is. I don't know who convinced them this was a good idea to do, or that they should bring Weta in and just ask, hey, what skins have you used recently in movies? And they thought, well, fucking monkeys. Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah. Robbie Williams is like the avatar of musicians and pop stars and stuff, right? Like Avatar made crazy amounts of money. No one talks about it. No one cares about it ultimately. And that's like That's what he is.
What's the Gary? Can I ask? Because you've seen it. Can I ask? So, what's the premise of him being a monkey in this movie?
Okay, so it's the best Planet of the Apes movie I've seen in the last calendar year. I can say that easily. So the premise is that's how he sees himself, and it's also it has a double meaning of the monkey on his back of addiction, right?
Okay,
But it never, ever gets acknowledged at all. He's just a human. And I think that aesthetic choice was to make it not look like as much of a vanity project as it was.
Right.
That being said, like Weta did the effects, and it's pretty immersive. Like about halfway through the movie, you just completely forget there's a freaking monkey running around. And they do a pretty good job with that, but it's a serious movie. So yeah, it's a rock star biopic. And if it was just a made up rock star biopic, the story still works. That's the important part. I didn't know who Take That was. Never fucking heard of Take That. Never heard of. And the one song I know, Jeremy, they don't play Millennium in the fucking in the movie. I'm waiting for the song I know. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's the only song I've known from him ever. And it was a big hit. It was a really big hit here in the States.
Oh, really?
It was a really big hit.
Yeah, it was played all the time.
All the time.
And because it was around the millennium, you know.
Yeah.
It was he was trying to be part of that like cool Britannia kind of movement where it's like America had this like really short-lived infatuation with like British pop culture and stuff.
Some of us don't. It's not short-lived with some of us. Okay. Some of us.
Well,
like
now
it a
the
lot.
Brits should just come over here and use a American accent, and then
What's
then we hear an interview where you're like, wait, he was British the whole time.
What's weird about the UK is you have the perception of having a media apparatus as big as America. Like it's pretty insane how that your little island has this huge media infrastructure of making film, TV, and it's bigger than any other countries out there, and it's kind of amazing. So like pop stars, I fucking hate pop music. I cannot stand it. But
Except for Bon Jovi.
Robbie Williams is better than Bon Jovi, dude. Bon Jovi is trash. Where was I? But as a story of the rise and fall of a rock star who had a troubled home, came from nothing, became famous at 15, did not know that the boy bands got their starts in the UK by touring gay clubs with 15-year-old boys in the beginning. That was
they definitely did.
Start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they get like discarded, but he was just kind of a drug addict asshole. He was just an asshole the whole time. But it's about him. It's about the journey of recovery, realizing I was a major asshole. And you know, he's not like really he doesn't even like his dad who treated him like shit in the movie. They don't throw him under the bus. He like forgives his dad. So it's a journey of getting sober, forgiveness, rising above it. There's a brutal scene where he's fighting his own demons. Like he's at the pinnacle of his career. There's some festival that's huge there. I don't know the name of it, but that's what he's been working towards. Like, I'm going to play this festival someday. So he finally plays it. And when he plays it, he's high as fuck. He's not enjoying anything. He hates his life and he's suicidal. So they have this scene where it's all the monkey versions of him start fighting each other. And then there's a scene where he kills the child version, just like that scene in Saving Private Ryan, where the guy's all shh and puts the knife in slowly, like that fucking brute. And it's brutal. And the fact that you buy into it is like, it's really fucking good. So, I mean, of course, I'm going to like the message of sobriety and the recovery story in it. It's not 10 out of 10. Let's not be crazy, but I'd say it's like 7 out of 10 movie that when you hear it pitched to you, sounds like the single worst movie ever made, period. And it's not. It's not.
I wonder if they might have done better if they just like cut the ties with Robbie Williams and just made it like almost like a stealth biopic.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know,
maybe
this is just a standalone story. And like, we're not going to focus too much on who it's about, but like, you know, like gradually you can leak the fact that like, this is my story, my life story. Like, cause yeah, like I think that combination of like a pop star who's very much had his day in like 20 years ago and like is kind of not popular now, plus the CGI monkey,
plus $110 million, like everything about
this
is a bad choice.
The monkey obviously added huge amounts to the budget because you have to CGI all of it, and it's like you might have just done better if you just cast a kid to play him, young version of him, then a teenage version, all that sort of thing. I don't know. It didn't work. It flopped.
Nobody watched it. And when Chris is like, you got to watch this, man. I'm like, the movie with the monkey? What the hell is it? And he's all, it's really good. I'm like, whatever. So I didn't believe him. So I'm like, all right, I'll be able to roast it. But I went on a date night with the wife, and we ended up, I'm like, hell, I like that more than I like Wicked.
It's so funny as well because it's the same director
like
who did.
Wicked.
It's the same director who did Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
And that made like 500 million.
Dude, it's really well directed. Like
This
the directing is really fucking good in it.
Yeah, I think this is one of those unfortunate examples of like the concept killed the execution.
Yes.
Sadly.
They went a little far with that concept. A little bit too far. Oh well, it's going to lose a lot of money, but hey, he got a movie made about his life 20 years after relevance, so he doesn't care.
Sure, yeah. We can all aspire to that. Here's the question. We all know all I know about Robbie Williams is that he feuded with the Gallagher brothers from
Oasis. That's in the movie.
Are they in it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're in it.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
Did anybody not feud with them though? I thought that's like one of the main things.
They hated everything.
Aren't they
other.
notoriously unlikable and fight with everybody? From what I understand, yeah.
Well, they fought with each other as well. So
forever, they're finally getting back together. Yeah.
Well, they're doing a reunion tour. I think it's mostly for the money, but is that still going ahead? Because I heard there was problems with that. Even
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh no, it is. I think it is going ahead because the government decided we don't have very many pressing issues afflicting the United Kingdom at the moment, so they passed a new law to stop people gouging ticket prices for an Oasis reunion gig. Is the priorities are in
Oasis?
Well, everyone was complaining about it, and so they thought we seem to do something about this. So yeah, that's put aside all the other urgent business so people can go see Oasis for cheap.
I like Oasis. I think they're fine. Like they were huge over there, right? And I have friends
over
here
in the late 90s, like Oasis were
obsessed over them as the greatest band, and I'm like, they're all right. Greatest band in the world?
No, they're not.
No.
They got a bit too big for their boots as well. Like their egos were off the charts. But yeah, I remember in high school in like the late 90s, like Oasis were playing constantly. Like they were topping the charts like every month.
Mm-hmm. They were big here for a short period of time.
For a short period of time, all you fucking heard was Oasis song. And at that time, I hated them. I've learned to like
Wonderwall.
Yes.
I've softened up on it since then. But at the time, I'm like, God, fuck this shit. Stop playing.
I honestly do not understand how that made it big in America. I did not think you guys would embrace that sort of thing at all. So that's really surprising that it did well.
Wasn't that first song about Kurt Cobain? I think that was the first hit. What's the name of it? You and I Are Gonna Live Forever, whatever the fuck that is. They were saying that was about Kurt Cobain, and that was the hook.
Well,
right after he
let's get to
the face.
Let's get to the real issues. Jeremy's gay. 199 praised the Emperor.
Wicked fan, big Wicked fan, Jeremy.
Hey, I liked Wicked. Okay, Wicked's a damn.
What's your favorite song? What's your favorite song from Wicked?
The final one, whatever, Defying Gravity or whatever. It's just great, man.
Aww.
It is. I hate to say it, right?
It's a great movie.
Went on record. It's a
great
good
movie.
If you don't like the musical, if you don't like the stage show, you're not going to get much out of this. But if you
the stage show is better.
Yeah, for sure. But like live music's always going to be better, isn't it? Yep. Like we know that.
Well, and the women were hotter too. So that helped.
Yeah, because we didn't have fucking Nosferatu.
We didn't have skeletons running around. Yeah, half-dead skeletons running around. We had like women.
What has Hollywood done to Ariana Grande, honestly?
Well, yeah, they really in the fashion world. Okay, so I've already told this joke with people here before, but what Ariana Grande looks like is what gay men from the fashion world want women to look like. They want them to look like fucking skeletons. Like and that's just the fashion world. That's how it is. That's why remember when we had supermodels that look like women and then they all started looking like they're on fucking heroin? I mean, that
was Kate Moss. That was she started.
But it's gotten worse. Now they look like 14-year-old boys on heroin. That's
yeah, because Ariana Grande, when she was in her pop star days, like she looked fine. Like not exceptional or anything, but like, in great shape and just.
And she's apparently a huge star. I did not realize how big of a star she is. Like in terms of like the music world, I had no idea. She's like almost Taylor Swift level, apparently.
Yeah,
she's that big.
Constantly sing about breaking up with people.
Yeah, apparently she's a huge star. I had no idea. But like one of the things that I think made me appreciate the movie more is so I watched all those interviews and how unlikable what's her name is, the black chick.
Well, it's
Good
what Little Platoon was saying.
Lord.
They're really good at acting,
And
that's
then-
what they
yeah,
should stick
and
with.
then I see
They
her in
shouldn't
the
even
movie.
order something from the fucking drive-through. They should have
Yeah.
somebody else do it for
I
them.
see her in the movie. I'm
Maybe
like,
Ryan.
she's actually not the most unlikable human being ever. In the movie, her acting was good, and that was shocking. The bar was so low, but ultimately, it is a good. I'm not a musical fan. I don't typically like them outside. High School Musical's the GOAT, okay, but outside of that, I don't really. It's a joke. I know Christopher Nolan himself said La La Land was great. Like I haven't seen La La Land. I haven't even seen the one with Johnny Depp. What was the one that everybody liked? The Demon Barber.
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. Yeah.
Sweeney Todd.
I typically I don't like musicals. It's just really not my cup of tea.
Watch The Greatest Showman, because even I enjoyed that.
I've heard good things about The Greatest Showman. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it. And it's got a good cast. It's got Hugh Jackman in the lead role, which should have been. Hugh Jackman would have been better than Jeff Goldblum in Wicked. Jeff Goldblum played Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
100%. Like that's all it was.
I think he was fine for the wizard though, because like that's the kind of character you want. Like Hugh Jackman would have been too composed, too dominant in the scene. Like you need someone who's a bit more flaky than that.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I think that was right. But like I agree 100%. Like he is just playing Jeff Goldblum, and that's kind of what he does in most movies these days. It's fine.
Yeah.
I like Jeff Goldblum, but try acting occasionally. You could play other characters from yourself.
He can act. He's done it in the past.
The Fly is a good
movie.
movie.
The Fly. He did a thing.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Why did I watch Wicked if I don't like musicals? Because I'm surrounded with women in my life, and I had to go. I went with 7 women, and I thought it was gonna be the worst thing ever. I was just like, I'm just gonna be on my phone. I'm just gonna have to get the phone down in the lap and but I like the movie. It's a good movie.
Isn't there a South Park episode where like there's a hidden code in every musical which prompts women to give you blowjobs if you take them to see the musical? I'm sure that's a South Park episode.
That's been there since the dawn of time. It's not just musicals either. If you took your girlfriend to see Titanic back in the day, you were fucking gonna get laid that night.
Yeah.
You were guaranteed.
You're like, hey, we get to see the ship sink again. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Munchie X Ninja says, for the 199, love all you guys and all your stuff. Be careful when reading my name, please.
Yeah. Let's just say that I said his name one time, and I said Munchie, and then I said an N that's
okay.
I said another word that ends with an A.
You said neighbor.
Yeah, let's just go with that. And by the way, that's the first time I've ever said that. I don't say it in traffic. I don't say it playing video games. It was a complete accident, okay? I've never said that word ever. Complete accident, okay?
It wasn't his first word.
I do love the idea that you're stuck in a traffic jam and you just start randomly screaming it out. Got past the time somehow.
From Alabama, we're kind of trained to do it, all right? So.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys something, though, right? Well, this is probably more aimed towards Gary than anyone, but you get Star Trek's a thing still, theoretically. And Alex Kurtzman is in charge of Star Trek, and he decided it'd be a good idea to make a movie based around Section 31 with Michelle Yeoh in it. And IGN, well, everyone hated it, but IGN in particular just absolutely lambasted this movie. They said it's 100 minutes of generic schlock containing only trace elements of Star Trek. And they gave it almost their worst possible rating. They gave it 2 out of 10. They said, Section 31 is going to infuriate Star Trek fans and bore everyone else. It's rote and derivative and doesn't even look good. Michelle Yeoh has a moment or two here and there where she shows off a cool fight move, but that's the only thing keeping the movie from getting a 1, our lowest possible score. Keep away from this at all costs and focus on the next season of Strange New Worlds.
Oh, because that's going to be so much better. That's what was going to be my question is, what were their ratings of all the other Kurtzman Trek outside of Picard season 3? They're all fucking 1 or 2 out of 10.
Let's not forget their rating of the Penguin as well.
Oh yeah, and didn't they rate Lord of the Ring Gollum higher too? I think just put that up there, so there's a 4. Which Section 31 was a series that was announced after season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, which I do believe was 2018. And it was happening any moment, and it never happened. And then Michelle Yeoh won an Academy Award, and it got it greenlit as a TV movie, and they gave her $12 million. So you get your money, girl. $12 million she was paid for this. She was terrible as Emperor Georgiou. Like we're supposed to follow around basically space Hitler. She's responsible for killing 1 billion people. She eats Kelpians. She eats Kelpians. And all of a sudden she's like,
not the Kelpians. Won't someone please think of the Kelpians?
Man, not the Kelpians.
Yeah. And I like her portrayal. Like, she's a good actress, but I've made this analogy before, but like her portrayal is like when your mom for Halloween dresses up like a hooker and tries to act like a hooker. And it just doesn't come off very well. Yeah. That's her portrayal of Emperor Georgiou. And we're supposed to love her badass. And like, dude, this is the worst idea ever. And this again spawns from Star Trek Discovery. So is the next show, Star Trek Academy. So I'm not shocked. I'm just shocked that they think this is bad, but I'm sure IGN likes Star Trek Discovery, at least season 1 and 2. I'm sure they love Picard season 1 and 2, and Strange New Worlds. Holy shit. Strange New Worlds. Musical Klingons, man. That's all I got to say. Musical fucking Klingons. It is, Kurtzman Trek has been a joke. Nobody talks about it. It has no cultural imprint at all, other than being laughed at. Star Trek is dead, and it's a damn shame. And I don't think it comes back from this. Thank God we got Unification. You made a great video on it, Drinker. Unification was my single favorite thing from last year was Unification. That was the goodbye to Star Trek I needed. And it's, I'm going to watch this for fun, because I think it's just going to be next level bad.
Do you have more faith in Star Wars or Star Trek at this point in time, Gary? Like, no. And I understand that exactly. Like, so like this either one of, there's no hope for either one at this point.
Not now.
I mean, obviously I'm at that point with Star Wars for sure.
In time, I think probably Star Wars could come back. I don't know about Star Trek was always kind of aging out anyway. And that's why they felt the need to make these radical changes, which they didn't. So they've been making Star Trek that isn't Star Trek. I think Star Wars could maybe in a decade, if they like stop it for a decade, maybe. But right now, like, is anybody excited about Sean Levy's movie with Ryan Gosling?
No.
But
also, the next one that's coming out is the Mandalorian movie, right? It's coming out next year.
That one's filmed.
Which I think probably does tell you something about, it's in a slightly healthier place financially than Star Trek is. It is actually making it into the cinema. Mando season 3 was fucking awful and loads of people switched off, but it probably still has enough latent viewers who are still kind of interested in it that some people at least will go and see it. Section 31's coming off the back of something that was already known to be fucking awful, which has been cancelled, which I think they were talking about either retconning or just shoving into some alternate dimension. And it's a spin-off based on a character who was a side story from a mirror dimension in a universe that's now not really even part of the main universe. And she was insufferable even as a side character who was only there to be a foil. So I don't know how they expected this to do very well at all. It's quite funny that they still committed to putting it out, though. I'm kind of intrigued to see exactly how bad it is.
I mean, let's not forget conceptually Section 31, which is this super covert entity that we haven't seen much of. In Star Trek Discovery, they had badges and ships and bases that you could locate. It was just everywhere. They had Employee of the Month up there. Section super secret spy Employee of the Month.
It's hard to it feels like some weird cultural whiplash, right? Like, because MauLer and I have gone through the Star Trek movies, like the original ones, and to go from that to just suddenly go to this, like, imagine if you just took someone who just watched them and then said, right, that's what Star Trek was in, say, the 80s, the early 90s. Here's what it is now. Go watch that. And it's just, I think it would fry your brain, man. This idea that this is what this franchise has devolved into. It's so comically sad.
It is. That's a really good description of it.
It's also hilarious how many franchises you can apply that to, though. Like,
I mean, sure, yeah, but like,
that is true.
Star Trek has fallen particularly far because, like, it used to be an intelligent franchise. It was, the alternative to Star Wars. It wasn't just about like the melodrama and the family, rivalries and stuff. It was a show of ideas, and that was something great. That was something to aspire to, and that gave you like a little bit of an antidote to just the space battles and all that stuff. Now, when you see things like this, when you see things like Discovery, it's gone the Star Wars route. Now it is just melodrama. It is characters crying hysterically and talking about their feelings. It is big space battles. It is CGI spectacle. It's nonsense. It's shallow, surface level nonsense.
That's the infuriating thing. Is this happened to franchises from my youth? Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek. It happened to Marvel. It happened to so many things simultaneously across the same last few years that people were complaining about, rightly so, 4 years ago. And Star Trek is still going ahead with this. And it's going to look like, and now it's going to look really dated. It was dated before. Now it's going to look really dated. And the only one that seems to be, and I mean, talking a very small percentage here, turning around is Marvel. As Marvel is the only one that looks like they're making possibly an attempt to turn things around. Everybody else is just doing the same shit. And it's infuriating when you see, because like Marvel just decides to make, MauLer's favorite movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. But it's like you got Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine costume, Deadpool in the White Boy Summer, and filled with cameos. But it does well because they just kind of made a normal movie, filled with gimmicks. But it's a normal movie without the bullshit that they've done over the last 5 years. And it did really well. And nobody learns from that.
The bar is not very high for superhero movies, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that negative in a negative way, but like it's really not. Like you've got a built-in massive fan base. You put in a few identifiable characters, and you don't fuck them up. It's not a very high bar. It doesn't have to be the greatest movie ever made in order to be very, very successful.
Same with Star Wars. I don't think Star Wars has to be like just make a basic Star Wars movie right now. That would be a victory.
Yeah, 100. Look, man, everybody looks back on Rogue One and thinks it's great, and it's only because of how terrible everything else was. I don't think Rogue One was great at all. But people are just looking for something that isn't shit at this point. It's not that difficult.
No. So right now, if they come out with something like that 7 out of 10, that's a huge win for them at this point. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleed. But Star Trek, I don't even think the license has any major value anymore.
No.
And Skydance is taking over Paramount. I don't know when that becomes official. I think we're still 3 months away. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Skydance comes in and just cuts Kurtzman off at this. Kurtzman was really good. He went to the JJ school of putting projects in motion to guarantee you have work. They don't really give a fuck what the projects are. Remember, Star Trek Academy, which is supposed to be the Harry Potter of Star Trek. Because we can't make the Star Trek of Star Trek. We're making the Harry Potter of Star Trek, was chosen over Star Trek Legacy, which was something the fan base, I don't know if I necessarily was too big on it, but the fan base wanted it for sure, which was the spinoff from Picard season 3. And they said no.
And is that because they're trying to do what so many people do and say, well, we have to revitalize the franchise and appeal to newer, younger audiences. So Starfleet Academy allows us to hire lots of young and attractive people who you would never, ever believe staffing any starship ever, because that will get young people on side. If you patronize young people, then young people will watch your show. It's famous and well known that this is what they do, which is why everyone tries it and it never fucking works.
Well, they don't even hire attractive people, because then you have like the cast of Star Trek Discovery, and they're a bunch of fatties and idiots, and
Bunch of fatties.
10% retarded.
Bunch of fatties.
Yeah, it's like ain't no way you're passing your fucking Starfleet physical, like fucking Tilly. They need extra power to like transport her from place to place, that's for sure. But like it's a shame that that's even what they have to try and appeal to. Like this superficial idea of like, oh well, if we cast young, attractive people in these roles, that might help us to get an audience for this show that's otherwise complete garbage. Like, MauLer and I, we've watched the original movies. like that's about a bunch of middle-aged men struggling with like midlife crises, and still trying to like see if they're got what it takes to do the things that they need to do as Starfleet officers. It can make for pretty compelling viewing.
It's the advantage as well of having relatively restricted budgets on things like that, because you
Yep.
don't have the ability to go around, creating these massive space vistas and huge amounts of explosions and things like that. You don't have much choice but to zero in on the people who are sitting in a chair on the bridge. And the only way you can make that interesting is if you actually make this a character drama, as opposed to generic sci-fi slop, which is what much Star Trek is now sort of devolved into. Star Trek Discovery had a huge budget, and some of the space sequences did look really impressive. But as soon as you focus in on the people who are supposed to be part of this story, they don't have anything to say because the show is run by theater kids, not by nerds. Like they're
Yes.
not interested in high concept. They're not interested in the characters. They're not really interested in the type of people you'd expect to send on a mission like that. And they don't have any love for the science or the wonder of the thing. So that's why they are all sort of reduced to crying at each other about their midlife crises equivalent, which is just relationship drama, but the most cheap and shallow form of that. The only way around that they seem to be aware of is that you go down the sort of Marvel route where everything is just a succession of quips and jaunty little set pieces, which it sounds like Section 31 is somehow managing to do. Because I read that IGN review and they're talking about how it's sort of a bit of a pastiche of Guardians of the Galaxy mixed with Ghostbusters, mixed with this, mixed with Men in Black. And it's like, that's not what Star Trek has ever been about. Just have people sitting on a bridge talking like sane adults about interesting shit.
Nothing makes me more insane when I hear like, oh, we're gonna make Lord of the Rings, but like Breaking Bad, or we're gonna do, like, what the fuck are you
They
talking
did it with the
about?
Joker a whole bunch of times, didn't they? They're like, this will be the Joker of whatever the fuck franchise.
Yep.
Well, didn't they do that with the Acolyte, where they said it's going to be like Frozen meets Kill Bill?
Yes.
Oh my.
Why?
Yeah.
How about Star Wars meets Star Wars?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Crazy.
The funny thing is as well, like I'm sure we talked about this before, where it's like they produce something that is more Star Wars oriented, where it's like just a little fun adventure where you get bunch of characters go off an adventure across the galaxy and eventually make it back home. They did it with Skeleton Crew. No one fucking cared. No one watched it because Star Wars as a brand has killed itself.
And it would have probably done better if it was released years ago and all this damage wasn't done, MauLer, you've seen the Star Trek movies now. Spock, you're familiar with the character Spock, is hanging out with the descendant of Khan in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, but isn't you'd have to do so much fucking context explaining for me. Like, is that even in the same timeline?
Well, because he was in stasis, so he's older, so it's a descendant. So maybe it would have come up when they're meeting Khan in Space Seed or Rathacon, between Spock's like, hey, remember we totally like served with his descendant? That was weird. That's kind of strange. Kind of like Spock having a secret stepsister that nobody ever brings up, or foster sister that nobody brings up because it's classified. That's the bullshit.
That's legit going to go down as one of the worst fanfic inserts of all time.
Little Platoon said it best. It's theater kids running Star Trek. It is soap opera writers writing Star Trek. It
kind of represents Hollywood in general, though.
Yeah. Well, because they got rid of the masculinity. That Star Trek was masculine, Star Wars masculine. They got rid of all of that, and this is what you're left: musicals and an emotional Spock. Jesus Christ. Fucking singing, fucking Spock singing in the short treks.
And they're locked into it as well because, they bought the rights for these big franchises in the case of Disney and Star Wars, and they thought, right, we've got it. So now let's set like a vague action plan of a decade long. We're going to have all these spin-off shows because the films are going to be so successful. And the films come out and everybody fucking hates them. And they still have to create these new spin-off shows. They've been having them in production for many, many years. And they're using, characters we either don't remember or don't care about. And with stories that lead nowhere, or if they're leading anywhere, they're leading to places we know we don't like because they've already jumped forward in time and ruined the future timeline. So it's just like they are in a completely horrible place to be in, I imagine. The only real way of doing it is just to sort of pretend that none of it's happened and start again, but they won't do that.
I do like this one as well. Life on Trek Flan, and I despise Star Trek Discovery, but Strange New Worlds was actually good. The musical episode was a clever, silly way to show off the cast's musical theater skills. You, sir, have no taste. Fight me.
I'll
That's fighting
I'll
talk
fight
right
you
there.
all day long on this one.
I don't want an
musical
episode of Star
episode was
Trek that's designed to
trash.
show off the cast's musical skills. That's not what narrative storytelling is about. Hey, by the way, did you know my actor can sing? Oh, okay. What's
Also,
the story they're a part of?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's not the first defense I would expect from a good musical. It's like it shows off the talents of the people involved. It's like, shouldn't everything do that?
Is there any getting rid of Alex Kurtzman and his hold over Star Trek? Can he ever be like jolted loose?
Well, his contract runs out this year.
Yeah, but Kathleen Kennedy's contract ran out like 5 years ago, and she's still fucking there.
We'll find out. Like Skydance is taking over Paramount. Unfortunately, Skydance is what it brought us some Mission Impossible movies, which is great, but it also brought us Jar Jar Abrams Trek. So maybe they keep him. Like, I don't know.
The only hope is the executive orders. That's it. That's our only hope.
Yeah. We need to get Elon Musk on board so he can whisper in President Trump's ear.
President.
Please just kill Star Trek.
The only compliment I can give Strange New Worlds is they try, but Akiva Goldsman runs that show, and he's fucking terrible. He is awful writer. He's right down there with Kurtzman.
Yeah. The only other thing that was going to come up was the box office predictions for Captain America 4, Brave New World. Not so brave as the case may be, because it's tracking around about the same level as the Eternals at the moment.
Not a win.
This is from Luis Fernando, who's like pretty good box office analyst. He says Captain America Brave New World had its pre-sales kickoff on Friday at the US box office. After 2 days, although nowhere near Quantum Mania, because we love that movie, which opened on the same weekend in 2023, Brave New World is currently 1.4% better than the Marvels and Joker 2, on par with the Eternals, and not far from Black Widow and Dune Part 2 after the first 2 days of pre-sales. This is low bar right here.
And it's got Captain America in the title, which you would think would be worth at least a little bit of money. So it's not something they'll replicate the next time they do a movie which doesn't have any of the at least the inherited titles in it. So I'm almost more interested to see how something like, is it Thunderbolts? Is that a thing that's coming up?
Yep.
That is a thing. Yeah, that's actually their big summer release. Because
Fantastic Four is.
No, that's July. So Thunderbolts is May, and May's like their big, like that's the movie that kicks off their summer movie season.
That kicks it off, but they're like the Fantastic Four has to do well.
It will.
The other two are kind of holdovers, but
Fantastic Four comes out this year.
Yeah,
comes out in June.
We haven't had a trailer for it yet.
Within 2 weeks of Superman.
We haven't even seen anything from that either.
There's gonna be
I've seen a little trailer
in that movie.
Yeah,
I got a feeling that movie's not going to do well. I got a feeling Thunderbolts is not going to do well, and I think that Captain America is going to have something it's going to help those movies underperform even worse, because it's hard to tell, because like obviously you had Guardians of the Galaxy and that did pretty good, and outside of all the other Marvel failures that were happening, but nothing that Marvel is putting out is helping the next project. And you're advertising, as Little Platoon just said, Captain America in the title, and people are just not interested. You've had 3 Captain America movies.
Captain America is not in the movie.
Exactly. You've had 3 Captain America movies, solo movies, solo movies. You've had the first Avenger, you had Winter Soldier, you had Civil War, which we all know Civil War was like a de facto Avengers movie, but still, those all did exceptionally well. And of course, you had Endgame. Endgame was carried by obviously Robert Downey Jr. and then to a lesser extent Chris Evans, Captain America, and then everyone else. But that audience, like the normie audience, just is not interested in this. And it's because they do realize Captain America is not in the movie. You go back to The Flash. Remember when The Flash came out? And I thought The Flash was going to do okay because of having Batman at the forefront, even if it was Michael Keaton's Batman, or even if we heard, that Ben Affleck's Batman. That movie, holy shit.
I did not see it flopping.
I didn't see it flopping that bad. And it does seem like with the rise of independent media, there's more information out there. The general audience seems to be a little more informed now about what's going on with these movies. And I think Captain America 4, Captain African American, as Gary says, I think it's going to be really bad for Marvel, and that's going to set the other films up for this year to suffer even worse.
I think Thunderbolts will probably do okay, only because it was relatively cheap to make. It had $150 million budget, so like the bar for like making a profit is so much lower with that one. So I think it will probably make a marginal profit for them, but it's not going to be a particularly successful movie. And I think, Captain America: Brave New World, that's going to flop just because the budget is so insanely high. It's never going to come close to making back what it needs to.
Brave New World's a bad title. New World Order,
well,
man, put Hulk Hogan on the cover. Put
yeah,
the NWO logo. I would be there day one.
There,
right?
like with his guitar.
Yeah,
and shit.
you know, like, but this thing has been through development hell. The budget, I know there's the budget that they're claiming is out there, but everyone is basically saying like that budget is way higher than what Disney's officially saying. The budget is out of control for this movie.
It always is.
But this one is next level apparently because of all the reshoots and everything that they've had to do. So I was talking to Ryan about this on Daily the other day, but this movie's probably got to make $1 billion just to break even.
Not they probably consider that a victory.
And that's not happening. This movie's not making $1 billion.
Well, not when it's tracking. So it's tracking for the same three-day period, Jeremy, the same as Winter Soldier in 2000 that came out in 2014.
And we can all look back on Everybody Loves Winter Soldier, and that's fine. It's a great movie, but that was not that was
a decade ago.
And at the time, that still wasn't like it wasn't like the Iron Man movies. It wasn't making that type of money at that point in time. So if it's tracking Winter Soldier from 10 years ago,
that's bad.
That's really bad.
And you also had the advantage with like Winter Soldier that you knew roughly where that stands in the overall story. So even if the movie you don't particularly like the movie or you don't think it's the best one ever, at least you know roughly where we are, who's involved, what some of the stakes are and going to be, and also that you need to see some of it because you need to understand what the next big thing coming up is going to be. But with this movie, I don't know where we are. I have no clue what the overarching storyline is. Am I going to have to go back and rewatch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Because I don't have to want to do that, but I might have to understand it. And I don't think many other people will. And it kind of needs this big reset in order for the audience just to basically grasp, are we starting off a brand new story that's going to be worth investing in? Or is this the second, third, fourth, fifth act of an endless story that I lost track of about 5 years ago? Or is this the end of something that I haven't been following? And if it's either of the last two situations, then automatically the reasons to get out of your house and go and see it on day of release are pretty minimal, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like I am completely detached from MCU stuff. I have no, like I didn't watch the Black Captain America series or whatever. Like I have no idea what's going on with this.
You've got to do better, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea. I do remember that scene going viral, but so I personally have no idea where. So is that how it's going to be for a lot of the audience? Because obviously I'm more detached probably than a lot of people in our sphere because a lot of people are keeping up with it or whatever. But like, is the average audience goer going to know what's going on in the MCU right now? How convoluted is it? It seems like it's very convoluted.
It's convoluted. They've got this problem as well of they've had a very long gap between cinematic releases because Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't even really count because like it's completely detached from the timeline of the MCU. It's just like its own little self-contained story. And in between that, you've got these shitty Disney Plus shows that nobody really watched, or at least most of the general audience that went to the cinemas didn't watch them, and so they're not up to date on what's going on there. But that stuff is necessity viewing for like the next movie, and so they've painted themselves into a bit of a corner with this one, where I think a lot of people just won't even know what's going on.
I mean, Multiverse of Madness had a not dissimilar problem with Wanda. You know, if you hadn't tuned into WandaVision and you clock onto that movie and it's, wait, what, there's this person who I last saw as a bit of a tragic hero, but a hero nonetheless, is now, well, she's got some evil book now and she's a villain. When did that happen? Oh, it was on Disney Plus. That's why I didn't see it. On the disconnection point of, say, Deadpool and Wolverine, much the same thing happens, I think applies to almost every Marvel film that's come out since then, because I don't know how Multiverse of Madness connects to Ant-Man. I don't know how Ant-Man connects to Brave New World, and I don't know how Brave New World connects to whatever else they've released that I've forgotten to name and mention. I don't know. There are so many different bits and pieces of disconnected stories, including Deadpool and Wolverine, that I'm not invested at all in wherever this direction of travel is taking us.
Well
that
said.
WandaVision didn't, not fucking WandaVision. Yeah, it was WandaVision, right? Jesus, my brain's melting. That show does not help you understand Multiverse of Madness at all. It's I think it was almost as jarring for anybody paying attention as for those who weren't. Like, she's supposed to have ended that show as like a good guy, and then she's a fucking villain again. Like,
Yeah.
God, it was the Darkhold that did it, I think. You're like, okay.
Well, and it wasn't a sequel to Doctor Strange.
Nope.
Now, Chris
No,
Gore and
Doctor-
I were
dude,
trying to
Doctor Strange
figure
got
out
fucked over.
yesterday, and it was tough. What's the best live action Disney Plus Marvel series?
Ugh.
Hawkeye?
I don't know which ones, if I've seen any of them all the way through. I think
Hawkeye's pretty bad.
I think
kind
it
of
is
want to
pretty
say.
We're trying to
I kinda
figure out
want-
what the best is.
It
Like,
could be
I kinda
good,
want-
though.
because
I kinda want to
Gary
say
hates me.
WandaVision.
I think I saw She-Hulk all the way through because Gary hates me. He made me watch it for F&T.
Yep.
What are you
Fucking
suggesting? That
bastard.
was the best one.
That's the only fucking one I've seen. I
Guilty
think.
as charged.
I couldn't finish Loki. I gave up on that one after like 3 episodes. I was done with that one. I
I think in terms of least bad, I might say either Loki season 1 or
Loki? That's the one that fucked up everything.
I know, but
What's
like,
wrong with you?
well, this is a low
See,
fucking.
it's a
bar.
loaded question because it's all shit. But what's
Yeah.
the least shit?
Or WandaVision. And I only say that because WandaVision demonstrated a little bit of creative inventiveness.
I did
with-
watch. I watched WandaVision
Yeah.
too. That's right.
First few
I was.
episodes, yeah.
I would say
They're-
WandaVision at least had some level of interest when you're watching it. There was like, okay, where is this going? What direction are they taking this? Whereas the rest of them had none of that at all. None
Yeah.
of it.
And that's where we landed was WandaVision because it had 3 good first episodes.
Yeah,
Decent
about
first
that.
episodes.
Yeah.
Do you remember
So
back
it's-
then we were
it's funny
speculating
because
on where the
Disney-
story might
Disney
go?
Plus is the fucking bane of both
yeah,
of these
seriously,
franchises.
Think about this. We went from the Netflix series to the Disney Plus. Think of that drop off. Like even the bad Netflix ones were pretty good. They were decent enough.
Iron Fist was shit. But
Yeah.
I actually thought Iron Fist wasn't terrible. I thought Danny Rand was horrible. What's
Yeah.
her name? Colleen Wing was great.
she was terrible. Dude,
Nah, she
work
was
out
great.
before you take a fucking role that you're
She
a
was great.
fighter. She looks like she worked out at the mall, like
She was great.
shopping.
She was great.
She was terrible. And he fucking hands his power to her, dude. It's so fucking MCU at the end of season 2. Fuck that. fucking
I
show.
liked the first half of Luke Cage. I thought the first half of that season was good.
It was inoffensive. Like I just never got interested.
Till Cottonmouth died. It was good.
Kind of boring.
Yeah.
I
So
like
Cot-
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones'
mostly
first
because
season was good because of
David Tennant
Tennant.
was a great
Yep.
antagonist.
I actually didn't like. I thought Jessica Jones kind of sucked. I forgot about that one.
Season
of course,
2
Dare-
sucked.
Of course, Daredevil. Punisher season 1 was great.
Season 2 sucked.
Yeah,
I gave up halfway through season 2. Stopped watching it.
yeah, same here. I got bored.
But he's back. He's going to be back. He's going to be back in the Daredevil show. He's getting his own show. In a Spider-Man movie.
I love John Bernthal.
I think he's a good Punisher.
I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I don't care to see him back involved in this universe at all because of the creatives involved in it.
Can we just say all the people who played the Punisher are badass? Like every single one of them.
Yeah.
Dolph
Thomas
Lundgren
Jane,
played the fucking
yeah.
Yes, he
Punisher.
did.
Thomas Jane was great.
Yep.
Ray
That
Stevenson.
was a
Ray
really
Stevenson.
good movie. That was a great
Yeah.
movie.
Yep.
The Tom Jane Punisher does not get mentioned enough. That was it was brutal. I really enjoyed that one.
Yep. I
Is
Is
prefer
that where John
Warzone.
Travolta
but-
was like his
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
antagonist?
Travolta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep, it was really good. Kevin Nash was in that one.
He
R.I.P.
was
Ray
the
Stevenson.
fucking Russian. Yeah.
Kevin Nash.
That's right. But Warzone. is my favorite.
Isn't the awesome story is he stabbed him with like an actual knife or whatever? I can't remember what's the
Yeah, there was
Yes.
something with that,
Yes.
or he actually stabbed him. It's the Nash thing, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, there
pretty
was-
sure. It's
Yeah,
supposed to be like a prop knife, but it was like a real knife.
I think so. Yeah.
But he just took it anyway. Like I'm pretty sure that's the real reaction you see in the film.
Yeah.
Which is like holy
That's
fuck.
crazy. That means Kevin Nash did more believable work in a movie than he ever did in the wrestling ring. So,
I like this. Wait, Netflix Iron Fist had powers? I couldn't tell. He never used them.
I know.
One fist at a time.
God, don't even get me started. How much they f that up, and then they would have put him in the costume, and that casting was terrible. It was
he
utterly
was
terrible.
so bad.
The gay guy from Game of Thrones.
He didn't. They
Right.
didn't teach him how to fight. He didn't know how to fight, so everybody else knew how to fight, and he didn't.
He was never intimidating either. He's almost like, hey, yeah, I'm a guy
He
with
looks like
superpowers.
a
It's kind of
barista.
crazy, isn't it?
He was gonna give me some avocado toast and not like
yeah.
fight.
Yeah, it was weak shit. Felt bad for him. But
God,
oh
the
well.
Defenders. I fucking hated the Defenders. I was so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then they fight Grandma for most of it, and then Jesus.
Poor Sigourney.
Yeah, she was one of the 5 fingers of the hand. Sigourney Weaver. Get the fuck out of here. Oh,
We're just talking about fingering again. I'm sick of it.
yeah,
honestly.
we are.
Yeah, we went from fist into fingering. We gotta stop.
But you know
here's a
what?
question.
Defenders isn't as bad as anything on Disney Plus. I'll say that. So
I think it's the fact that like that whole Netflix franchise was predicated on it being low level and like grounded and believable and realistic, and like suddenly with the Defenders, you're trying to do an Avengers kind of team up movie where they've got to take on some like big existential threat. It's like you're trying to make it grander than it should be. You're going against the very tenets of what your shows are predicated on. So of course it was going to fail.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you started to realize like certain characters just do not play well off each other at all. So that didn't help either.
And it takes away from the Defenders comic, which is a much better team. And it was actually, I like that more than I like the Avengers. And it was Doctor Strange, Namor, Hulk, Silver Surfer was there, Valkyrie and her metal tits. It was an awesome team.
Yeah, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. It's like, yeah, it's not quite as good.
They joined the team later. Daredevil and Luke Cage are in the team later, but
Yeah.
or some X-Men.
Here's a question. Forest Through the Trees says, "Yo, Drinker and MauLer, the fuck is your beef with Interstellar? No appreciation for space or science? I've looked for your retrospective reviews on the film, but can't find them on YouTube. Please drop a link if possible."
Yeah, man. The space science film that says to navigate with love.
Yeah,
Where all the
Love
scientists
it.
are retards.
Phenomenal film. And
love is
the-
more powerful than black holes. Okay.
And the science in the film has been studied by multiple world-renowned scientists who have said this. Kip Thorne is a retard? Really? He worked on the film.
Studies have shown that Interstellar is the bestest, most scientific movie of all time.
But I will say it's still a movie, and
I
we have
wanna
to remember
navigate
that.
my
So-
movie.
But you stop there. It's still a movie.
Well,
okay?
no. The point being is, so I, as a father to a daughter, that movie hits me on a level that's what the
How
movie's
does it
made
hit
for.
you as a
Uh,
father to a son, where he treats
So-
his son like absolute shit throughout the whole fucking movie?
I
How'd that
mean,
go?
everybody
Yeah, 'cause
has their
that guy tried
favorites.
to grow wheat. Okay,
Hey,
should have grown
hey,
corn.
what?
Everybody has their favorites, and that's the reality of life.
Everyone-
That's
got-
just
I
true.
don't
I,
know.
tell I remind my kids that all the
That's
time.
the brutal
Yeah.
reality of life. I'm sorry if you don't want to
cannot
admit that,
buy
but
that.
everybody
It's like
has their
you-
favorites. That's the
Today,
fact.
you're my
It
favorite.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody. Like I have 2 dogs. Well, one of them passed away recently, but I had 2 dogs.
R.I.P.
One of them was my favorite. That's just the reality of it. But
Not about favors. He treats him like shit. Completely forgets him. When the
Well,
whole
the
movie's
whole-
supposed to be about
Get-
power, family,
hey,
and love.
guess what the point of life is that women need more catering and love, and men can be on their own. Okay, so let the boy be the boy. Okay, let him man up, let him deal with shit.
Doesn't fucking
All right?
care about him at all. Doesn't even find out what happened to him.
Jeremy's a great Santini.
Nah, but but ultimately, like when you talk
baby?
about the space exploration of that movie and the fact of, like, I know the whole thing with love and all of that, like, but when it's quantifiable within the movie and all of that from an emotional level, if you're a father to a daughter, it works.
Emotional. Is that
Absolutely.
like a mimosa?
Yeah, like the movie is absolutely phenomenal. And I get that people have criticisms of it, and that's totally fine. Like, I have my own criticisms of it. If you want to be honest, there are valid criticisms I think that exist in that movie. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason that there was a reason that 10 years later we're still talking about it, and everyone it just gets better with
fucking
time.
assholes keep bringing it up on super chats. That's the only reason we're talking.
People are still talking
it.
about TLJ.
Hold on.
I just love this idea of like Christopher Nolan. With
Wait a minute.
Whiteboards with like formulas.
Interstellar
and
is
and stuff,
now.
and it's like I've discovered the fucking like physics behind a black hole.
I'm gonna watch Inception.
How are we gonna resolve
Interstellar
this
has
movie?
now.
I don't know.
Interstellar has now
Freaking
moved
love.
into the top 20 most highest reviewed
Who
films in
cares?
IMDb, and it's the 7th most reviewed film on IMDb. Period.
Wow.
Look at the films
It's the seventh most reviewed film. on IMDb.
The fact that you know that, maybe you're rooting a little too hard for Nolan.
You know
there.
what? Like, after all
Hey,
this
listen.
I am actually going to make a review of this movie and shit on it out of
Dude,
pure spite.
Go
when
for
Jeremy,
it and
when
wait
Jeremy
for the
loves
internet to take
something,
care of you.
He
I
loves
will
it
make
to
my
death.
video one day.
Yeah, that's
when-
welcome to being a fan.
May you find somebody who loves you as much as Jeremy loves Christopher Nolan. If he could watch him sleep at night, he would. Okay.
This is why I dismiss the notion of when people call things overrated, because essentially what you're saying is that too many people like it. So you're actually validating
you brought
something.
that in. We didn't say anything about that.
Yeah,
What are you
nobody
talking
said
about?
that.
No, I'm just about in general. When people say like something's overrated, like I don't
hate Interstellar
I
like
don't-
these guys do.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan of Quentin Tarantino as a director. I never call him overrated. He's rated exactly where he should be. He's got a mega fan base. Every film he comes out with is ultra successful. I just don't like him that much, and that's fine. But he's an artist. He cares about his craft deeply, and his fan base loves everything he puts out. I don't think that's overrated. I think he does a great job. I just don't like his shit. I don't think that.
What do you think of Prestige, Jeremy?
Prestige is honestly, objectively, might be Nolan's best film. Might be.
Good answer.
Yeah, it might be his single
It's in
best film.
4K.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
I saw MauLer just like winding up there for a tirade.
I already
and then,
knew
like,
that he
you
thought
said
that.
like,
He's-
it might be his best film, and it's like, okay.
This conversation's come up every once in a while, and he respects Prestige. That's all.
Oh, absolutely. So I think there's Prestige and Dark Knight are probably objectively his two best films.
What about
Objectively.
Inception?
I like Inception a lot. I love Inception. It's really, really good too. And the fact that it's left ambiguous at the end and people still continue to discuss it to this day and Nolan won't say anything.
We
which
know
is
one
what-
thing for sure. Ellen Page became a dude. So
That's true. But yeah, I mean, I think almost every Nolan film is very good, except for I think Dark Knight Rises has got a ton of problems. I think Tenet is shit. Oppenheimer is probably one of the more least enjoyable movies of Nolan's, but it's obviously a very well-made film.
Where do you
I'm
sit
not
with
gonna go-
Dunkirk?
I like Dunkirk too. I've seen it 3 times. That one kind of falls more closely with Oppenheimer in terms of it's not as enjoyable. There's not a lot like it's the emotions are pretty flat in the movie. And so I would put it on the tail end of his movies instead of the top end because it's just fine. I don't go back and like I know Quentin Tarantino himself said it's like a masterpiece, and I'm like, it's good, but I think it's on the lower end of Nolan's movies. Top tier Nolan movies.
Joker too.
Did he? Well, he's retarded. There you go. But like top tier Nolan movies are The Prestige, The Dark Knight, and obviously my favorite is Interstellar, but I acknowledge that it's probably not his best movie. And what am I forgetting? Inception's right up there. What else? Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins and The Dark Knight are almost nearly similar in terms of their quality. I actually think Batman Begins is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight, but I think The Dark Knight's a slightly better movie overall. And then you got The Dark Knight Rises, which is just, I love The Dark Knight Rises. It has a lot of fucking problems, a lot, but I adore it.
I hear you, chat. Memento's awesome.
Memento's
love it.
fantastic.
Great,
Yeah, Memento's great. Insomnia is okay. Insomnia is okay. It's solid. It's nothing great, but it's solid. It's got a great cast.
It sometimes baffles me a little bit when I see, like, when Nolan takes on movies like Dunkirk and Oppenheimer. I just think, why are you doing this? Like, I get that you're a competent director, like with almost anything you want to take on, but it's like, it really doesn't feel like this is in your passion project sort of list.
The way he plays with time in Dunkirk is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just that
it's like, okay, you did something kind of interesting here, but to what end? Like, why did you feel like you had to do like this non-chronological retelling of Dunkirk when it's really a pretty straight up historical drama? That's all it is. I don't need this to be some crazy like existential exploration of like time and space and stuff like that. That's not really what the story of Dunkirk is. I feel like you'd probably just been better off telling a more conventional story there, in which case Christopher Nolan's probably not the guy to do it.
Yeah, no. I mean, Dunkirk was a very successful movie and generally well received. Oppenheimer might be his most successful film to date in terms of overall. I don't think anyone saw that movie making $1 billion. I certainly didn't. $1 billion for a fucking 3-hour biopic.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Was it R-rated as well?
Yeah,
R-rated.
R-rated. That makes no sense. I mean, even me, I didn't go want to go watch that one multiple times like I do a lot of Nolan's movies, but it worked for a lot of people. And I do think the Barbenheimer thing worked slightly to kind of elevate it for sure. But
yeah.
And then I guess it swept at the Oscars.
If you're gonna hit that R rating for tits, like, oh, Florence Pugh, man. Like,
I also thought the sex scene in that was just completely it didn't really. It felt more awkward than anything in the movie.
Yeah.
Nice to see.
If I had to think of a director to direct a sex scene, like, Nolan would be the last on that list.
Nolan would do it out of order.
Like the orgasm comes first.
Yeah.
Listen, if we want to talk about the biggest stain on Nolan's career, he likes Batman. He likes Man of Steel. I'm sorry, I was going to say Batman for Superman. He likes Man of Steel.
He produced Man of Steel.
I know, it's fucking dog
he didn't
shit.
direct it, so.
But he was instrumental in the creation of Man of Steel.
Yeah,
he had everything to do with it. That's the biggest stain in his career.
A lot of these directors, like, they involve themselves with projects that they shouldn't. Like, James Cameron has fucking endorsed every Terminator movie that's been made ever. Like,
yeah, but I would argue that Christopher Nolan is far more than just a nameless producer on Man of Steel. He actually was very, very, very involved with the crafting of the story, with the casting of Cavill, with the hiring of Snyder. Nolan's fingerprints are all over Man of Steel, and I hate that movie passionately.
Correct.
Here's a question. To Drinker and the rest of the panel, did John Wick really need sequels, especially 4?
Nope.
I love the sequels, but no.
Yeah.
If you're asking if they needed them, no. I enjoyed.
I love the ending of the first one. It's kind of perfect.
It's great. And then it goes into it turns into a completely different story after that, where they live in a superhero fantasy world where a suit can is impervious to bullets and nobody shoots them in the head.
Yeah,
but I love it. It's fun. I have tons of fun watching them. It's like Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai had a very grounded first season. And then it goes
finally,
into craziness.
Talk about Cobra Kai. Everyone keeps trying to make that happen.
That is February, isn't it? That's when we get the final.
I'm looking forward to it.
I like how me and Gary argue over binge versus weekly, and Netflix like, fuck both of you. We're just going to give you the worst possible.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
We have to convene, like, to talk about it when it ends. So
okay.
We give our final thoughts on it.
I'm excited for it.
You can do a little tease right now, right? Because as far as I'm aware, you guys stand on opposite ends on how they've taken Cobra Kai. Is that true?
What's that? Who?
Drinker and Gary.
Oh,
maybe. I mean, I don't know where.
Oh my God, we don't agree on everything. I can't be.
Yeah, go. Me and Jeremy have done our thing. Now it's your guys' turn.
Cancel MegaCon. I thought we all were on the same page of our echo chamber.
No, we'll do MegaCon, but we'll just have a fucking punch up when we get there. I don't like where Cobra Kai has gone. Generally speaking, it's gone like far too far into the fantastical realms of just being stupid now, and it's like it's become a parody of itself, which is kind of funny because it was kind of a satire of the original movies anyway. But wow, it's gone full circle. I'm interested to see how it's going to end, but I'm kind of glad that it is ending because I feel like they've exhausted every creative possibility with this now, and I'm just going to say
they can't go any further than where they did this last one.
Yeah,
like dinosaurs and spaceships come down.
If Vin Diesel shows up, maybe they can go further.
Sam LaRusso still cannot fucking fight after like 5 seasons. Like she has never learned how to fight properly. So
she's put on a little weight too.
She has, yeah.
It's character driven, and I think it's fun in a soap opera sense, and it's ridiculous, and I love it. I love the tongue in cheek aspect of it. And it really could have gone much farther, and they've taken it farther, and I'm totally fine with it because it's just fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of that's where I am with it. I acknowledge the nonsense surrounding Cobra Kai.
It's ridiculous,
absolutely stupid.
Karate fights breaking out everywhere. There's not a fucking cop in sight. Especially after
like,
this last one.
And I'm sorry, like there's too many women punching men, and none of the women get punched back by the men. Essentially, and I'm like,
would you say there's a suspicious number of women?
Suspicious amount of women.
No, they fixed that in that they remember when they did separate the men and women because they're like, yeah, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah. But I do. It is nonsense. It's stupid. And as long as you're willing to kind of go along with the ride on that, because I think season 1 felt very grounded, and I think a lot of it made sense and it was moving in the right direction. And then after that, it's just kind of gone crazy. I thought season 4 was that the one with Terry Silver? Full on Terry Silver with his
I think it was.
Yeah.
Like
that's when he just straight out brings up a fucking samurai sword and tries to carve people up with it.
He does.
He does.
He does carve people up
shit
with it
right there.
I
liked season 4. For season 1 first and season 4.
Yep.
It got really nonsensical, and the school fight scene was absolutely fucking retarded. Whatever that one was. Into season 2 was that what in season 2 when Miguel got his back broken or whatever.
Yeah.
That was just
Miguel got baned.
Nonsense, and I'm like, what are we doing here? But there's a certain level of charm with this series that you're willing to kind of overlook a lot of the nonsense, because it does. I think it feels like it owns the nonsense.
It does.
It
leans into it.
Self-awareness is a very powerful thing that you can't really quantify. And this seems to have self-awareness of the nonsense involved with it.
And the story of William Zabka, who's like, just kind of faded into obscurity, had this second chance at getting a series, and now he's making the rounds and he's super grateful for it. Like, that's kind of cool too. The story behind it.
Yeah, I met him at Tampa, like Comic-Con, and he was like so fucking like just humble about it. He was just like really happy that this thing had succeeded, and he never expected it in a million years. I think that's cool.
No, yeah, I mean, like, it's, I don't know. I mean, how this thing's going to end, is this going to determine how I feel about the whole series? No. It's not going to have any impact.
Dude, how are they going to, they're still going to have the tournament. And do you want to spoil it? Do you guys care? Did anybody see the last?
I do fucking care.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Let me ask you a question. Who is your favorite fighter?
So are we eliminating Johnny
Lawrence?
Yeah, so like it's
my
probably
favorite
amongst the competitors. But,
Ooh, that's a good
Miguel,
question. Actually, I thought Miguel was going to be a stronger character throughout the series after season 1. I feel like Miguel has taken a step back as the series has evolved. I felt like he was going to be a stronger character through the whole thing. I mean, certainly Sam is my least favorite in the entire show. Let's just establish that. Okay, Sam is terrible. I don't like Sam at all. Robbie's fine. I think Hawk probably has had the best arc.
Is cool. Yeah.
Hawk has had a really good journey, I think.
Hawk is my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
Because like whenever he does like a flying kick and you hear the fucking hawk.
You hear the hawk sound. I mean, that's awesome. That's leaning into it.
He's powering up.
That's the self-awareness I'm talking about. It owns the goofiness.
Lean into the meme.
Robbie's probably the best fighter, actually. Like,
Robbie's probably the best fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, like in terms of the actor and what he can do and stuff, like he is on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the nonsense of it. But yeah, when does it premiere, Gary?
February, right?
February.
Yeah,
Yeah,
next month.
And we're getting a couple. We're getting 1923
Well,
in
you know what? It
February as
doesn't
well.
premiere. You're getting 19. Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
doesn't? It won't be January because nothing premiered in January.
Yeah,
Then
that's
Hollywood
true.
decided to take the month off.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, we'll get 1923, and then Daredevil's right after that. Daredevil's in the beginning of March. So next couple of months should be great, and then Snow White in March. Everybody's looking forward to Snow White.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Captain African American.
Here we go as well. On this episode of Open Bar, a homosexual retard reviews movies. I mean, that could be any of us.
That's
really.
all of us.
It's a
Well,
fun
not
roulette
Little
right there.
Platoon. Little Platoon is not retarded.
Yeah. Frosty Film Watcher, who's been a member for 9 months, says, sending love and metaphorical whiskey your way, drinker. Well, why can't you send me actual whiskey? That's what we need most of all here. But appreciate it, man. Sam Wallace Art says, I actually like the soundtrack for Tenet. It's more of a rock concert than a drama. Spider-Verse 2 was really bad, though most of the whole Gwen intro, she's mumbling a monologue over loud drums.
Reacher season 3 in February too.
I tried watching Reacher. It didn't work for me.
Reacher season 1 is really good. Season 2 is hopefully season 3.
Maybe I'll try Reacher again, but first couple episodes of season 1, it just wasn't.
You just don't like Alan Ritchson because he's a fucking idiot.
He is a fucking idiot. Yeah. He is a fucking idiot.
He is an absolute idiot.
I think he got the phone call. I think he got told, like, you're playing this like hyper masculine character. I think people are starting to get the wrong idea.
You might
to
want to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you need to show that you're on the correct side of history. Then he does his thing. But
did he finally start shutting up? Because I just kind of stopped paying attention to him.
I've not heard much more from him.
He did.
I mean, that entire, like, that show is, that base is the base that he was targeting and trashing the whole time. Like, the people that love the show.
He wasn't really aware of who was watching his show. It's like the criminalist viewers were watching his show.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll take Scientology Reacher. All right. I'll take Tom Cruise Reacher.
Here's a good point, actually. Matthew Gee says The Martian was so much better than Interstellar and also a lot more based in science. I agree 100%. I like The Martian more than Interstellar.
Matt Damon was in both of them.
Matt Damon.
Possibly Ridley Scott's last good movie ever.
Really? Yeah.
Next one he's going to do Gladiator 3 or whatever he's doing next. What's he doing? What's he going to fuck
Gladiator Harder.
Gladiator Harder.
And he has said Gladiator 3 is going to be a thing, and
you know that he wants to do it before he dies. He's like, it must be no
he's
one else.
producing the Blade Runner show too. Like he's I don't know how creatively involved he is, but Blade Runner 20.
Why is there a Blade Runner show?
Because I don't know.
Everything.
Wait, isn't there like Blade Runner 2089 or something, and it's an all-female?
It's all female leads, 2099. Yeah.
Of course it fucking is.
Woo! Because Blade Runner 2049 was so good. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It sucked. It was trash.
Movie.
My opinion of that film has gradually decreased over the years.
Oh,
sadly.
Watch that back to back with Blade Runner is a fucking painful experience.
Oh God. Yeah. I'm gonna slowly walk up to a door for like 30 seconds, and then Harrison Ford gets a fucking shirt at Walmart and like mails in a fucking dude. I hate that movie so much.
Yeah. Richard says Sean Bean equals Odysseus. Simple as. Odysseus needs to be portrayed as a bit older but stoic and masculine. Tom Holland is a femboy, cat ear wearing twink. Brutal. Possibly true though.
Isn't it Matt Damon that's playing Odysseus?
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. MauLer.
Yeah, I don't think they've not announced who's playing which role yet.
Yeah, Jeremy said that. So
cannot see Tom Holland in the main role. He's not. He doesn't look old enough. I'm not going to believe him as an experienced grizzled warrior who's gone through a whole massive war. I could barely believe that he's old enough to have like a wife to go back to or whatever the fuck. So no, I'm hoping it's not going to be him. But we'll see.
Are we talking about the Odyssey?
Yeah, we joked about this earlier, but I could honestly see it with modern Hollywood, Zendaya being Odysseus. I feel like they are chomping at the bit to do that.
I don't think there's any way Tom Holland is playing that role. I just don't. I think he's going to be the son. I think Matt Damon is probably going to be the father. I think that's unless it's John Bernthal, which would be actually better than Matt Damon.
Yeah,
that would be badass.
Yes.
I don't know if Nolan is going to pick Bernthal to lead that film. I think he's got a really good relationship with Matt Damon and all, but I'd love to see Bernthal as the lead. But I just do not see Tom Holland. He's the son. I think he's the son.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see. Next one is from David Gannon, who says, "Oh, come on now, drinker. Zendaya can scowl like no one's business." Yes, she definitely can. I'll give her that. She's got a good frown going. Jack Crispy says, "Hey, are you guys familiar with Carl Pilkington and his shows like An Idiot Abroad and Sick of It? The best things to come out of the UK. What do you think?" I mean, yeah, I quite liked An Idiot Abroad.
Not sure I'd say they're the best things to have come out of the UK. Like, we've got a couple of other things that we could recommend, but I remember liking them when I saw them.
It's fun. It's very much plays on British humor, like the fact that he's so deadpan and dry humored, you know. So, yeah, it's fine. Carrier, a Raccoon City story, says, "Drinker, any idea on what your schedule is for MegaCon? Hoping that I'm going to see you all there. Aside from that, Carrier episode 3 is wrapping up, looking for an early March release." Excellent. And yeah, I don't know. Jeremy probably knows my schedule better than I do at this point. You seem to have info.
I can. Do you want me to tell you? I can send you what I have, and you can decide if you want to announce this.
Well, Kara sent me something, and I'm going off memory here, but I'm pretty sure we're doing our panel at midday on Saturday. And then meet the creators. Like, so basically, we're all going to be at a table signing autographs and meeting people. From
2 to
like
5.
2 till 5. Yeah, 2 till 5 on Saturday afternoon, so it's a pretty good slot. And then I'm going to be there again on like
Sunday.
1 till
Sunday from 1 to 4 is where you're slotted. And that's going to be at the Rippaverse booth at the meet and greet.
Yes.
So what I'll do is probably in the next, I'd say a little bit later tonight, I'm going to have an article up on geeksandgamers.com that we will have it pinned at the top of the website or whatever on the slider so you can find it. Well, I'll have everybody's schedule there. And if things change, we will update that article. So I'll have that on geeksandgamers.com a little bit later tonight.
Sweet. But yeah. And yeah, who knows? I might just be lurking generally around MegaCon, and you never know where I'm going to spring up and randomly like steal people.
Hey, you want to ride Hagrid with me?
Absolutely.
That was the funniest thing. Like it was last year, we were on Friday Night Tights and we were talking about MegaCon, and Gary just goes, "I want to ride Hagrid." And we're like,
I know. And it's like,
he was all
yeah.
Wish
I could have that one back.
Probably shouldn't have said that one. Oh man. But then Saturday night, that weekend is when we're doing the fan meetup at City Walk, Universal Orlando. There's no charge for that. However, if you're driving, City Walk's going to probably charge you for parking. That's it.
Yeah.
But
you can Uber there. And it's really convenient how they do the Uber thing. They have it's got its own, like on the top level, the parking lot. It's really fast. You don't have to wait very long. So that would probably be recommended.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you're going for a meetup with me, you're not going to be wanting to drive afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not designating driving everybody home. That's just not happening. Nope.
The best part was Gary never did get a chance to ride Hagrid.
I never did.
He never
did. And
Dude, that Velociraptor ride.
The Velocicoaster is insane. The Velocicoaster is awesome. I probably like the Hagrid ride more just from the theming standpoint, but the Velocicoaster just as a pure roller coaster is better. It's so damn good.
Well, part of the experience is you don't have a belt right here, right? So you have a thing that comes over and it's spinning, it's going over water.
Fast.
So your ass is leaving the seat.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to, like it's trying to throw you out, and it's part of the aesthetic of the roller coaster, but you feel like you're going to get thrown out at any time. And it's insane.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good times.
So they still have the Mummy roller coaster at Universal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah, I've been on that like 10 times.
Dude, they have the old school Spider-Man ride. They have this whole Marvel area that's all trapped
Yeah,
in the
I
90s.
I went on
Mhm.
Doctor
Awesome.
Doom's like Fearfall or something it was called. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
It's gonna be
wait.
fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom
Wow.
Waiting says Zendaya was in a car commercial with Norm Macdonald. Okay.
Cool.
Really?
Axel Zabot says, how important is Cap 4 to this year's box office projections? Q1 is normally slow, but this and Snow White could foreshadow no growth again this year.
Yeah, they had no growth last year because of Q1 and then a bad fall. And it looks like it's kind of the same thing this year.
Well, I mean, last year as well, it was a really slow start for the summer movie season. Like there was flop after flop that was meant to kick it off. Fall Guy, that was meant to be the start of the summer movie season, totally died.
Which was good.
Yeah, it was all right. It was
a good
fun.
movie. Yeah,
it's fine.
But you're right. And it doesn't look that different this year. I think there's outside of animated movies, there's potential. Like Superman has potential to make $1 billion. Will it? I don't think so.
No.
Fantastic Four. I don't know if it has potential to make $1 billion. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, Superman's. I'm still I'm looking forward to it, but I'm very cautiously optimistic about this Superman movie.
I hope it's great.
I do too, and I just feel like I don't think it can be as great as it needs to be. But I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Well, those two movies going head to head as well. Like they're going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah, within 2 weeks of each other. I wonder if somebody blinks.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything less than $1 billion like a failure for Superman then? If it makes, say, 700, is that good enough?
No, I think that's good enough. I think it gets a sequel and they move ahead, but I think they fast track a Batman movie. That's what I think they do.
Yeah, I think 700 is going to be just like didn't the Batman make around 700 million? Isn't that what that made? So and I don't think that was. I mean, hell, are we ever going to get that freaking movie?
2027, and then we get Penguin season 2 after that.
Jesus,
did you hear that, MauLer? That the Penguin season 2 doesn't come out until after the Batman comes out.
Do you think they announced it just to make people happy, and then they were like, "We have no fucking clue what we're doing"?
That's most of it. That is most of Hollywood now. Announcing a project, as you know, Kathleen Kennedy made a science of this, is a marketing strategy for the movie that's out now. It's like, oh, we're so happy with Rianne Johnson's movie, we're going to give him a trilogy. Still waiting.
Apparently, they weren't that happy.
Yeah. Bogdan Anichescu says, favorite Tombstone performance apart from Val Kilmer. Oh.
Favorite? Wait, say that again. Favorite Tombstone performance?
Kurt Russell.
Russell.
I love Kurt Russell, but I do like Michael Biehn in that movie.
Michael Biehn, but Kurt Russell, dude.
It's Kurt Russell,
some of the best lines.
That'd be Kurt Russell, I think.
He's great.
Yeah. Sam Elliott as well.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting he's in it.
Dude,
it's
one
pretty
of the
awesome.
best experiences of last year, Drinker. I got to watch Tombstone in Tombstone, which was awesome.
Nice.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Yep.
Our Rob or Ross says, even Jeremy, a homosexual man, is right about Interstellar. Take
it
that.
Does
for
line
what
up,
it
you
is.
know. It does line up. I get it.
Yeah. Grandmaster Chris.
I
says,
often wonder what people think about my fucking chat when they see like all the shit that is said in my chat. Like, I don't know. Jesus.
It's weird when it bleeds over into here.
Can't
It's
take
like
you guys
worlds
anywhere.
colliding.
It's probably
can't
like
take you guys anywhere.
Are you talking about an outsider coming in without knowing anything? It's like watching Tenet. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Everybody's calling him gay and putting up the number 199. I have no fucking idea what's going on here.
Grandmaster Chris says, not surprised the Clone Wars fanboy Jeremy likes movies with pretty visuals and terrible writing. Hail Drinker and Cisco, the best Star Trek captain. I don't know why I'm suddenly in the same category as Cisco, but okay, fine, sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Not as good as Kirk, but he's good.
Yeah, he is good. Light of the Even Star says, Zendaya can't act. Henry Cavill for Odysseus. Old enough for the gravitas, young enough for the action. Hail the 199 and the Fellowship. Thank you, man. Cole Hauser says, get Jeremy to watch the Connery Bond movies. Hail the 199. You must have seen the Connery Bond film, surely.
No, never was a Bond guy.
That is why you are gay, sir.
Yeah, I like American movies. Okay, give me Ethan Hunt. All right,
Oh, get
American. All
I
right,
was gonna say, Gary, beat him up right now.
the
America,
fuck out of here.
Scientology, and Tom Cruise, baby. Let's go. Yeah, no,
Not a man of
Not
culture.
even close.
yeah, I've seen a few. I saw the Pierce Brosnan one back in the day because of the GoldenEye games, for N64. So I watched a couple of those. I like those; they're pretty good, but just not a Bond guy,
Yeah, why would you like somebody who, suave, debonair, kills people, license to kill, banging women, riding around in fucking awesome cars? Yeah, totally.
So Batman,
Not your jam.
He is Batman. Yeah.
He just doesn't fight his villains in a rubber suit.
Suave British Batman.
Usually. Sam Wallace says Euphoria is for Californians that survived super toxic high schools, and Zendaya is the flawed narrator hated by everyone who's an objective, cynical outsider. As that, she's perfect casting. I'll take your word for it, I guess. I have to. Mr. Tompus says, if you ascribe to the theory that there are only 7 Balrogs after Gandalf kills Durin's Bane, there is 4 Balrogs somewhere in Middle-earth.
Somewhere in Middle-earth, yeah, like buried.
What happened to the other 2?
Balrog get Galrog.
Galrog. Those are the girl Balrogs, so it's Galrog.
Ah.
They went off to found a better Balrog universe for everyone. But yeah, so he kills one. He kills Durin's Bane. He says this poster says that there's 4 others unaccounted for. So what about the other 2? If there's 7 in
Better
total?
not fuck with them.
Sure.
They're even deeper in the minds of Moria.
Yeah. John Gates says, Trump, crazy Kathy Kennedy. She's a total disaster. She took a great franchise. Everyone loved it, and now it's destroyed. It should never have happened. I mean, I can't argue with that analysis. Kevin O'Neill says, I'd always assumed that the Balrogs, like Sauron, only answered to Morgoth himself. I think I mentioned that earlier, actually.
That's a good assumption.
I don't think they even answered to Morgoth, did they? They were like demons of the ancient world.
He's because he's like classed up on them, so that they do technically follow his instructions. Because there's the bit where Ungoliant attacks Morgoth, Ungoliant is Shelob's mother, and he summons his sort of pet Balrogs to go and fight Ungoliant to save him, because he's the class above in the whole sort of theogony of the whole thing. So they would answer to him, and Sauron is only of their class, so they probably wouldn't take his instructions.
No.
Mm.
But like maybe ally. I mean, that's a possibility. They did. Well, that's why they were. They didn't even want that to happen.
I do love this idea that because it's alluded to a lot in the books, like Sauron. Sauron
would probably team up with Sauron, but would he do everything he says?
Yeah.
Question.
But Sauron, who's like this force that's godlike being who's going to just essentially consume all of Middle Earth. He was once Morgoth's bitch. He was this little guy, a little lieutenant. Like that's all he was, and it's this gradual diminishment of power over the millennia. I think that's interesting. Eurodoc says Balrogs serve Morgoth and not Sauron. Yeah, carrying on from the previous comment. Next one is David Gannon, who says Borderlands, though. Am I right? You are right, in fact. It was boring. Cannon Falderall says Drinker in 1927 was also the first film version of Chicago, based on the 1926 stage play, also titled Play Ball, remade in 1942 as Roxy Hart, then turned into a musical in 1975, and it remade again in 2002. So it's been through the mill, I guess. That is a lot. Desert Ranger says Borderlands came out. Also, hail to thee, the 199. Thank you. Master of Puppets says, have any of you ever watched a movie so bad that you actually walked out or rage quit on a game? The only time that I have walked out was 2 to 3 hours into Last of Us 2.
The Marky Mark Transformers, the first one. I fucking walked out halfway through it.
Really?
I
Really?
fucking hated it. Yeah, because I thought that was we were gonna get it back on track. You know, I had a lot of hope for it. I couldn't take it. I just hated it.
I've quit on
That's what I
plenty of
remember doing. I
games.
slammed the laptop screen on Transformers: Rise of the Beasts because that was fucking awful. I thought, oh, well, there's nothing else out. I'll cover that, and I got about half an hour in, and just no, there's no point. This is no.
But were you invested enough to expect anything more from it?
I don't think seen many of the other ones, so I didn't know exactly what I was in for. And I was expecting it to make at least a modicum of sense and be interesting, and it wasn't. I think my script ended up going on a really long tangent about the evolution of crabs, and that's when I realized that I was not sufficiently invested in this movie.
You just reminded me that I gave up. I didn't walk out or give up. I was watching that one, you know, on digital, the Rise of the Beast, recently, because people keep telling me that it was pretty decent. I got about 30 minutes into it, and I was like, I was like, I'm getting tired. I'll go to bed. I'll finish this, and I've never gone back to it because it's not good.
I can't remember the last time I walked out of a movie in a theater. I don't think I have.
I don't think
But,
I have either.
Plenty of shit on TV where I was like, nope, boop, later.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever get a little bit of a sense of like, I did pay for this, so I guess I should. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
funnily enough,
popcorn
MauLer, I
to
don't
eat.
get that very often now.
That's crazy.
Agatha All Along is probably the most recent one where I started watching it and
Yeah,
then
I
just
knocked
got to
out.
a point where I was like, nah, I just don't care. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I just started watching because I'm a big fan of Taylor Sheridan and his stuff, and so I started watching Lioness with Zoe Saldana, and I stopped after halfway through the episode. Everybody's telling me to go back and start watching this series. Everybody keeps saying it gets good,
Dude,
Jeremy. It gets good.
Troy Duffy from the Boondock Saints is telling me to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm with you on this one, bro. I got
through half of it, man, and like the women are just so badass to the point where like they're in the Marines and they're like badass and they're beating the men's scores and all of this, and I'm like, what are we doing? This is stupid. I will
watch Landman again.
Yeah, I'll just watch Landman again.
Yeah, Landman is meant to be really good.
It's very good.
It's very good. It's not, so don't go into it thinking Breaking Bad level, because it's not Breaking Bad good, but it's really it's a solid movie that's got really good dialogue, and Billy Bob Thornton really sells it.
I mean, is it like Tulsa King level?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
absolutely.
I would say not as good as Tulsa King, but pretty damn close.
I agree with Gary. I think I probably like Tulsa King a little more, but they're very close. They're very close.
Tulsa King has more action. It's got mob shit, so that's why I'm gonna lean into that. This is a drama. It's got some action in it too, but it's Billy Bob being based at least twice an episode, just chewing out this stupid girl lawyer throughout the season.
Hot. It's got a lot of hot chicks in it.
It's got
That's
it's
good.
the weirdest concept. It's Landman's not the best name in the world. It's about West Texas oil. But they
should be an oil man,
dude. They mix in some. It's just really good. It's a normie show. It's 100% like what my mom and dad would have watched, right? Like it's a normie show, but it's a good one, and
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's really good.
The rewatchability on Taylor Sheridan stuff's pretty good.
It is. Yeah. I agree with that too.
He generally casts pretty good actors as well.
Yeah, Demi Moore is like a guest star in the show.
Honestly, but she's so unrecognizable. She's had so much work done. I didn't even recognize her for several episodes.
She's John Hamm's wife, and she's just like a sub character. Like
it's the Nicole Kidman effect. Like it starts to look very plasticky after a while.
She just looks completely different.
Yeah.
John Hamm is such a good actor. I'm such a fan of his. I wish he would have gotten an opportunity to play Batman years ago. He would have been great as Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah, he's good in this, and he's just a kind of a side character in it too.
Yeah,
Ben Browder's in it.
Hey,
Farscape. Yeah,
he
plays a small part. Yeah, so that was good to see him.
Here's one more before we finish up. The ultimate question: is Jeremy really gay? Or does he just go to the lady boys? Speaking of Balrogs, where does one get a Balrog?
He has relationship with women and sex with men.
Well, I got news for you, Jeremy. Yeah, where do you get a Balrog shirt, Gary? That's what we want to know.
Somebody sent me that. I don't know, the one that looks like the Danzig shirt.
Yeah,
Somebody sent me that, but I would say look on the interwebs. I bet you could find one on eBay.
It's still the greatest. That's one of the greatest moments in F&T history when Az realized that was a dude.
Oh, I know from She-Hulk.
He hides in his hoodie.
Yeah, he was all like gawking over the tits and how
he is right, and then Chrissy's mentioning it, and I'm talking over because I'm like on to something else, and I didn't realize that Az
was doing something else, and you see Az go like,
and you see Az like just fall. It's so funny.
Somebody clipped it out. He got like 100,000 views. He's like, I hate this fucking timeline.
So just to, I mean, there's a couple people I talk to who currently work at Marvel, and they're the ones, who feed me everything. And it was She-Hulk hit every metric to get a season 2 internally. It hit every metric, and I guess there's some fucking formula on Disney Plus that they'll never share with us. And they decided not to go with it because of the backlash. And I wouldn't be surprised if what's her name calling out Bob Iger had something to do with it too. But we don't even know if she's ever going to be She-Hulk again. Now,
I mean, I don't think anyone gives a fuck at this point.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not spies. It's people who work there who talk to me on the condition of anonymity, so they don't get fired. Yeah, that's the one who told me Henry Cavill was going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine that Garrett spilled on a live stream. Well, I said, I know one of the cameos from Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Garrett goes, short arms, and everybody guessed Henry Cavill. Like
short arms.
Yes.
But reloadable arms, though.
But sorry, Disparu. It hit every metric to get season 2, but it didn't get it.
Well, neither did Willow, sadly. But
I got it erased.
Yes,
that's something that I would, if we got full control over Disney, which would never happen. That's one of the things I would make happen, is get the full accurate team back for Willow season 2, just for Disparu. I'd be like, I'm going to get this for you, buddy.
He'd be so happy. I want to say though, thank you guys for coming in for this tonight. My lovely panel, Gary, Jeremy, Platoon. You people are amazing, and I appreciate you coming in for this tonight. Even though it's January and there's literally fuck all for us to talk about, we somehow managed to fill up 2.5 hours, so that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Myself.
I mean, it's honestly been a very, between the Nintendo Switch reveal and the inauguration of Trump, I've been slammed this month. But from a movie standpoint, it's been pretty dead.
Yeah,
pretty dead.
Have we got those JFK files revealed yet?
So it's gonna go through a lot of processing. So we're not gonna get them for a couple of weeks probably. So there's still some processing involved.
It was Shrek, wasn't it?
They'll be 95% redacted, wouldn't they?
Well, he said when he signed it, he said that it's all going to be out there. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a little bit redacted. I'm hoping we're going to have. We're going to have 90% of it.
Did we get the report yet? Because we might have to extend this show.
No. We're not going to get it for about 15 days. So that's what that's what the report was.
We could have made history here tonight. We could have exposed the truth behind JFK.
I know it.
I mean, Gary seems a little suspicious. He's like, did they reveal it?
I'm not going to confirm or deny if I was in Dallas that day.
Yeah, I had it bookmarked, but if I could find the report, but
that makes me very suspicious that it's like taking 15 days to get some files out. It sounds like there's going to be some redaction. So, be ready.
Right here. Here we go. So breaking per Trump's executive order declassifying the RFK, MLK, and JFK documents, the director of the NSA and attorney general have 15 days to present a plan to Trump for a full and complete release of the JFK records, 45 days for RFK and MLK.
So they have 15 days.
45 days.
Yeah, they're going to scrub the shit out of it.
So
also, did I hear right? That's 15 days to report on how they will release the report. So
Yeah.
it's not even as though you'll actually get the material after 15.
that is
That's
what
just gonna be-
that is a tweet from Autism Capital, who's got that information. So
Hey, Deep State, give us your documents of the person you killed, please.
yep. So we'll see what happens.
They're holding all the papers. They're like, wait. And they got
They got
wait.
Well, yeah. In the meantime, like Trump will mysteriously die from a heart attack or a car
Yeah,
crash or something.
yeah.
Like,
Be careful. Be
Yep.
careful, man.
Well,
Deep State.
there's just a lot going on right now. A constitutional amendment has been filed allowing President Trump to seek a third term in office now. That is from Congressman Andy Ogles from Tennessee. So
No.
He cannot do it. He'd be
No.
82.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't doubt Trump. I wouldn't doubt Trump.
He'll
No.
outlive all of us.
Young, vibrant man. So
I'm sure he is, and that's but like, oh no, because then other president. Well, we just experienced 4 terms of or 3 terms of Obama. That was great.
right.
Yeah, you want that again too. So just remember that part.
Yep.
Well, anyway, lovely people. I appreciate you guys coming in for this tonight, and for everyone in chat who's sent us super chats and who's just been here hanging out with us. We very much appreciate you, and thank you to my mods for doing the excellent work that you guys always do. For any super chats that we missed tonight, we will obviously catch up with them in a couple of days at the weekend. But for now, for Open Bar 127, that is all we've got for today. So go away now.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Laters.